The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
A new report finds that the average 50-year-old in America is worth over $1 million, while the average 30-year-old is worth more dead than alive.
A man on a plane in India who was trapped in the bathroom for the whole flight says the crew slipped him a piece of paper reading, "Do not panic." Then he slipped them a piece of paper back reading, "More paper, please."
A new study suggests that men are better than women at using a map, while women are better at sitting silently for the rest of the car ride after you tell them that.
A new study of pregnant women finds that vaping does not harm their babies as long as they're very careful shoving the vape up there.
My God.
Hey, folks. All right, listen. I'm so not in the mood for you guys. Okay, today's Monday, all right? So stop doing your stupid radio thing. And if you want to pick up where you left off tomorrow, at least it'll be Tuesday. All right? So just keep it down.
Mondays, I hate them. Monday.
Start the show.
Oh, no. No. No.
Oh, no.
Oh, but I suppose, yeah. It's a go here from the main broadcast studios at KXXR FM radio. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show, and thank you very, very much for listening. And we've had a real adventure right here from the get-go. Right from the start, Josh. Tell me, Josh, if you agree with me. The relationship we have with our coworkers is like we're the parents of 10th graders.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Instead of grown folks working with other grown folks, sometimes it feels more like we're the parents of by damn 10th graders. Let me tell you a story. So Cubby and I are just sitting here. What time is it? 5:43? This was, I don't know, half hour ago or so. Maybe more than that. Cubby and I are just readying ourselves for another broadcast. You know, number one show in town. Totally untouchable within the company, Josh and I. Totally untouchable. There's no one that can tell us anything. And Josh's phone rings, and his ringtone is the sound of Chinese guys lighting farts. We hear the ringtone go off. And on the other end of the line, it's Ashley.
I thought, oh no, she's dead or she killed someone.
She's found a brand new way to be late for work. Ashley tells Josh that she has run out of gas in her motor vehicle and needs help.
Now, listen, to Ashley's defense, this is an unavoidable situation.
Oh, absolutely unavoidable, yes.
Every once in a while, your life just comes out and kicks you in the ass out of nowhere, and that's kind of what happened to her. But there's nothing you can do to prevent such a thing.
If only the car would alert you somehow, some way that it was running low on petroleum.
Dana,
gas.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana.
I feel like I should run the auto industry with that brilliant idea I just came up with.
And if only there were a couple days where you don't have work responsibilities, where you could take the 1.5 to 2 minutes to fill up your tank.
I woke up this morning, and when I got in my car, I realized the gas light was on, and I was like, okay, well, I don't have time to get gas because I don't want to be yelled at for being a minute late.
Yelled at? No.
Has anyone ever yelled at you?
I did.
Except for you guys. I guess not you guys, but listeners, yeah.
I really enjoy the way this has come back to bite someone else in the ass already.
Well, I'm just saying that's why. Like I was very anxious about that, and I was like, I can definitely make it to work, and that I wasn't able to.
So then Dana has to leave his work area. Mm-hmm. He's also readying himself. Now Dana has to go get Ashley, and then what happened? You had to pull her car off the side of the road, or what?
So she gave me a kind of a gauge of where she was on 280. So I had to go and, you can't just, turn around the highway where I found her. So I had to go all the way down, turn around, and I went to go. I thought my assignment was just to pick her up and bring her to work. And then she said, well, where's the gas?
Yeah.
And I was, what gas? And she said, well, I need to get my car gas. So I then got back in my car, went to 4 different gas stations. 2 of them were closed. 2 were open. And I said, do you have a gas can I can borrow? And they just looked at me like, no, we don't. So I was completely SOL. And then just drove back to the station, and I get back to the station, and here's Ashley in her car in the parking lot.
How did that happen?
I didn't hear that part.
I don't believe it was MnDOT, but somebody that helps people on the side of the road pulled up.
Like a highway helper?
Yeah, yep.
Are they called First now? I forget exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure
what they're called.
But yeah, so he gave me some
what
gas.
What if it was just some
awesome.
random psycho?
That's what I was wondering.
I thought about that.
Was it a
first.
random maniac?
No. He had a vest on and everything. So
Oh my
he seemed
God, a
pretty,
vest.
He seemed pretty legit.
Wow,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
you were
that's another
saved.
thing. Where can a guy get a vest? That's impossible.
So
So wait a minute. Did you tell Dana you got a ride?
Yeah, I texted
Oh, so
him.
you knew.
Yeah.
Dana.
I was driving back. I wasn't checking my phone. I went to the 4th gas station. I was no gas can. So I was driving back, and then her car was already in the parking lot by the time I got here.
All right, I don't even care anymore. I don't even care.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Quite the adventure.
Yeah,
right?
and I after sitting there, I forget that this has never happened to me, so I forget that when you run out of gas, your car no longer stays warm. So I was absolutely freezing.
Well, I'm sorry that happened.
That's all right.
Again, nothing you could have done. Dana, thank you for going and trying.
Yes, thank you.
My only regret is not getting a breakfast sandwich at one of the multiple gas stations I stopped into.
A great idea has been texted in from a listener. Ashley, do you think maybe it's time that you enlist? Anybody think it's time for her to enlist in the armed forces?
They'll probably shape you up.
Go through boot camp at least.
Ask me about CrossFit. Jesus says maybe we could apply for conservatorship to protect Ashley from herself.
When I was a young person and I was just kind of stumble effing around and late for work and just not quite all there, I should have enlisted. It would have given me that proper kick in the ass. You have any interest in such a thing?
Absolutely not.
Oh. So here we go.
I do like you mentioned that you get yelled at. And I know you clarified afterwards, but
it's not you guys that make me feel bad. It's some of the listeners. It's brutal.
It can be. Yeah, people can be dicks, and oftentimes for no reason. But that kind of happens at my house sometimes. Where I'll be like, "Hey, I had asked you not to put your shoes right in front of the door. If you don't mind, just kind of moving them over."
I hate that when shoes are in front of the door.
Yeah, you can't open them, right? You can't open the door.
And then you trip over the shoes when you enter the room.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And so, and then I'd be like, well, you didn't have to yell at me about it. That kind of thing. I'm like, I yelled at you about that?
Who says that to you? The young people in the house?
Whoever's in the house. If I say something like that, they're like, I have a tone. And my tone would be, hey, I mentioned not to put your shoes in front of the door, And so I grew up in a house where my dad yelled. I mean, it was terrifying. I was terrified of my dad. And I did, I love my dad and everything, and I didn't want to be that way necessarily, so I don't raise my voice, but they call it yelling at you nowadays.
There is a segment of society who doesn't understand the definition of yelling.
Is it because they think because you don't yell, they think that that's your version of yelling?
Yes, because if I seem annoyed, that's me yelling at somebody.
Well, so everyone's okay now. Everyone's here.
We're alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick...
damn.
Yeah, I tried calling my boyfriend about 51 times and tried hitting him up on other social media platforms to try to wake him up. So
but Tinder and OnlyFans.
But I haven't texted him yet that I made it because I want him to wake up and be like, oh, I messed up.
Well,
oh shoot, I should have been awake.
He didn't mess up. You did.
All right, Nick.
Yes.
You had a weekend. You don't even know it yet. Well, you know part of it. I see you're wearing your Baker Mayfield jersey today, and may I say you look quite fetching.
It is a good-looking jersey.
It's very sharp.
Yeah.
I know you thought they were going to win over the weekend. So
I was hoping they would.
That's the bummer. But I'm glad you said hoping. You were hoping somebody would get injured at Randy Shaver's charity pickleball tournament over the weekend.
Before all this running out of gas drama kicked in, I showed up, Josh, for one reason this morning: to hear your tales of great athletic accomplishment.
Well,
because over the weekend you signed up to participate in a Randy Shaver cancer fundraiser pickleball tournament, and I was just thrilled and excited to hear your tales of great athletic accomplishment. But you're right. Last week, my number one hope involving this pickleball tournament was that somebody would get injured. And you're telling me you've got what I need?
Dude.
Come on, are you serious?
Yeah, and I feel so... And I want to say, I mean, I know we're kind of joking about it.
No, and I want to be clear about something. I'm not talking about anyone ended up in an ambulance. I was just hoping for a good story of, say, a groin or a hamstring or an Achilles or something.
Far worse.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Now I feel like an animal.
And you were praying for it.
I feel like a heartless animal. What happened?
I knew we were going to jinx it.
And I thought about it right away.
Well, it wasn't you, because I noticed right away when I got here, of course, we're sitting. When you got up to take a squeege a few minutes ago, I kept a close eye on you to see if you were limping, and you were not.
No, it wasn't me. This poor guy.
No.
He dislocated his knee so bad, his kneecap ended up in Jordan.
Oh, no.
It left the city of Shakopee.
I've seen that where my kneecap has done that. It kind of wraps itself around the other side of his leg.
No, it went like up. It just went straight up.
Oh.
And so thankfully, Dr. P was there, our regular doctor, every other Monday. And he happened to be there. So it's one of those where people are yelling for a doctor. Is there a doctor in the house? And unfortunately, it was only Dr. P. But he was there. And afterwards, because I see there's a whole bunch of people gathered around one of the courts, like on the opposite end from where I was.
You didn't see it happen?
No, I didn't see it happen.
You didn't hear the scream?
Nothing, because I was on the opposite end of the building. Drop Shot Pickleball, by the way, is an awesome place.
Fun people?
Yeah, that was fun.
Nice people.
I want to make sure I get that out amongst the drama. But they, so this poor guy, he's sitting there. The look on his face was pure terror. The look on other people's face was, I'm about to barf. And Dr. P's there doing his thing. And I got to see him in action. He's a fantastic doctor. We joke around about it. He was so good. And they wheel him out of there. And Dr. P came up to me. He's like, that guy needs surgery.
Oh.
It was bad.
Oh, no.
So I'm hoping he's doing okay. Hopefully it just looked worse than it was, but I thought of you right away. You got your wish.
Oh, no.
That's awful.
God dang, kneecap just went the other way on him.
His kneecap just said, I'm out of here.
I'm done.
Some guy found it in his popcorn.
That's pretty much what it was. Again, it was like a city over. It ended up at the world's largest candy stores in their parking lot.
Did it happen because he landed on it, or the kneecap just went weep?
I didn't hear. Young guy, too. I'm going to guess he was probably in his early 30s, maybe, or at least he looked really young.
And I was hoping more it would be you or Dr. P or Randy.
It's not very nice, but yeah.
I didn't mean for a complete stranger to be wrapped up in my curse or whatever I put on this tournament.
Yeah, it wasn't like an old dude or some guy that looks like he's never, this is the first time he's exercised. He just came out for a charity event. No, he looked like he was in really good shape.
Well,
looked like an athlete.
It just goes to show you never know.
You just don't.
That's what you get for working out.
You can keep yourself in terrific shape, and sometimes things are going to give way. Randy Shaver is under the weather and won't be joining us this morning.
He didn't have a voice on Saturday. You could tell he wasn't feeling very well.
Oh, that sucks.
I saw him topless.
Nice.
Did he need to take his shirt off in front of everybody? No. No, he didn't need to, but did he? Yes. He changed outside of the little changing room there.
He's very vain.
He's also quite cut. I commented on it, and he...
You shouldn't have said anything. His ego is already out of control.
Well, you know what? To the point you wouldn't expect, he had this air about him, like, obviously, like, why are you saying something like that?
Why wouldn't I be ripped?
Of course I'm cut. I've been cut for a while.
But now he's not feeling well.
No.
Boy, this tournament just, it took some folks out.
Here's some positives. So my stepkids were there. My stepdaughter won Best Dressed. She won Best Dressed for that. Dr. P, he brought a mullet wig. He didn't win Best Dressed.
Oh, there was like a costume contest?
No, I guess they just threw it out there saying, hey, Best Dressed, or whatever you were wearing. Like, nobody knew. She just happened to have like a tennis outfit on. And she even texted me ahead of time saying something like, would I be a complete goober if I wore a tennis outfit?
Goober?
I don't remember what she said.
That's sweet.
But I had said, no, I mean, go ahead. wear what you want. And then she won Best Dress.
That's awesome.
How did you do out there,
So-
you personally? Because, you've been warming up to this pickleball thing. Did you whiff ever?
Well, I didn't play. I lost my partner in you. You had a family thing come up, as you know. And so I didn't have a partner. And the way the tournament was, people were taking it so seriously. Like I was going to maybe just kind of jump in with my kids or something like that. But people wanted to win.
You didn't play.
No, so I didn't end up playing.
Wouldn't that have been something if you still would have gotten hurt?
Just spectating?
Well,
yeah, it was one of those things where it was so well organized. And I mean, people were competitive.
Yeah,
they wanted to win. So
people are dicks.
I didn't want to jump in and have people. And I'm not saying, by the way, I would come in and be a ringer. Not at all. But I think people were taking it seriously enough. They didn't want any hijinks.
So you just sat there by the deli tray or something and had a good time.
Yeah, and so I inadvertently messed up as far as I was talking to a couple of really nice younger guys. There were some really cool people there, and so he's like, well, which one are you kids? And I pointed him out, and my stepson is very good. And he's like, oh, what's his weakness? And so I ran through his weakness. And they're like, well, what do you look for when you're like, what's his strengths? And I'm like, oh, he's got a wicked spin, he's athletic, all that kind of stuff. And they played them next.
Yeah,
and I thought, he didn't do it on
my
purpose. The guy did, but I don't want to suggest he did it on purpose. I don't think he knew who he was playing next. So I'm like, that's not good.
It's us.
I thought you were going to tell me that you were talking to these young guys and they asked you which one were your kids, and you said, well, that one, and that's my son right there. I thought you were going to say, when they said, what's his weakness, you were going to say, well, chicks with big asses or something like that.
I'm going to tell you, it wasn't too far off from there. I don't want to say specifically what I said, but you're not too far off. Yeah, I'll tell you. It was a good time. Hopefully that guy is doing okay, the guy that hurt his knee.
Oh, no.
It did not look good. Maybe it's one of those, like I said, where it just looked a lot worse than it was.
But it's nothing new. We keep hearing more and more that hospitals are just overrun with pickleball players.
Yeah, was it surgical nurse Jesus who texted last week and said she'd never let her kids play?
Oh,
just because of how many injuries. Didn't she say it's like the number one injury they see now, or number two? I can't remember.
So many people just piling up in the ER of pickleball injuries.
Sluggy Jesus wants to know, I had mentioned this guy that hurt his knee was probably, in his early 30s. So he wants to know if he was from the Mankato State hockey team, perchance. I don't know.
Oh, what a hell of a deal. Well, I'm glad you turned out okay. You came out of it all right, Josh.
Well, yeah, if you don't play, it makes it a little easier. But you're right, I could have slipped on some ice or something.
Yeah, you could have cracked a tooth on the
Like a hard cookie.
Carcucci board.
Choke on some popcorn from the concession stand.
Something off of the Carcucci board could have cracked a tooth for you. Well, there you go. Yeah, here I am in my Baker Mayfield jersey. I figured I'd give it one more run now that my Buccaneers season is over.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, just a little bit. I didn't watch any of Saturday's games. I forgot who played Saturday.
Well, the Packers.
Oh, right.
Yeah, watch that game.
I didn't watch any of Saturday's games, but yesterday I went, and I told you about this. There's a dude that drinks at my neighborhood bar who grew up in Michigan, and he's gung-ho as a sumbitch about the Lions, and how can you blame him? Of course, he should be. And part of the excitement that I felt when you gave me this beautiful, what's a creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers Baker Mayfield jersey. Part of the excitement was that I could use it to taunt this super Detroit Lions fan that drinks at my neighborhood bar. So at halftime of yesterday's game between the Buccaneers and Lions, what was it, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I raced over with this jersey on so I could bust in the bar and just be, we're tied at 10, suck it, your team's going down. I just to be a dick.
Right.
And the guy wasn't there.
Dang.
He stayed home and to watch the game with his son. So I never got a chance to taunt him with the jersey. I figured I'd wear it one more time here today, and then I could, hopefully he stays with the Buccaneers, even if he doesn't. I wanted to wear it one more time.
I thought they already said they want to keep him.
I don't know. But
I mean, I don't. He didn't look bad, did he? Or did I miss something?
No. He threw one interception, or maybe he might have thrown two, but the one at the start of the game was not his fault. Did he throw one later? Maybe one later sealed the game for the Lions. Yeah, maybe they had 2 picks, but no, Mayfield looked all right. And so now, here we go. They're down to 4 teams now in the playoff. The playoff, as Clem Haskins used to say it.
Sorry about your Bills, Dana. I felt bad for you yesterday. I was bummed. I wanted them to win.
Yeah, I sure did too. That was quite the heartbreaker.
I was kind of just hoping in one way or another both teams could lose that game yesterday because I'm burned out on both of them. But it does suck a little bit more that we just can't rid ourselves of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I know. I feel like the Bills let America down by not just ending their season and being done with them and the whole Taylor Swift thing for a season. But we got to put up with it again next weekend.
Yeah, the poor bastard kicker missed that field goal.
And it had to be wide right, too, which is just so on the nose for the Bills.
Yeah.
Well,
Jim Nantz even mentioned that.
Yeah.
But Scott Norwood's got to feel like he's off the hook.
Yeah.
Some of you, do you know the reference?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Some younger folks might not know the reference, but an old kicker for the Bills by the name of Scott Norwood missed a big kick in the Super Bowl 30 friggin' years ago. He might feel a little bit better about the situation.
And the fact that people still bring it up, you're right.
Yeah. So there you go. What else is going on?
I wonder if Norwood was, is he still alive?
I'm sure he is.
I'm assuming.
I'm sure he is.
If he was like, come on, man, just, I want you to win, but just kick it to the right. A little to the right. It's windy.
I mean, he's only human, right?
Yeah,
he's still
just leave me alone.
He's still getting hate mail from drunks in upstate New York, for a football game that was played 35 years ago. Hell yeah, he wanted that kid to miss that kick.
Yeah.
I want out of this mess. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Reminds me of a beer league softball game we played plenty of years ago. Me and my buddies playing beer league softball. And, some of us were more competitive than others out there. I certainly wasn't one of the more competitive ones. And we had this, I don't know, some kind of regional tournament game. Who cares? But, some of my teammates were just freaking pumped for that stupid, yay, if we win this tournament, we get to go play 7 games in 2 days next weekend in the raging heat of the summer. 8 times out of 10, I prayed for that crap to come to an end. But we're playing in this big regional game, and some dude, I don't know, we were up a run, and the other club had the bases loaded, and like their worst batter comes up and he dribbles some little weak grounder to our second baseman and it just rolls right through his legs and the other team wins the game. And some of our teammates were pissed, but I shouted, Bill Buckner's off the hook to my teammate, because it was very Buckner-like. Just little tiny little roller through his legs. That's the end of the game. Bill Buckner's off the hook. Some found it funny, some did not.
I'd see the humor in that.
I appreciate that, Cubby. So there you go. We're off and running here on a Monday morning.
Got enough gas to make it home, Ashley?
No, I probably have to have my boyfriend come and bring me some more.
Rats.
It's all right. He doesn't work too far from here, so
We could go
it's
siphon
kind of on
some.
the way. Yeah, I could. Waffle, how's your tank?
Mine's completely full. Thank you.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah,
I know where to get it now.
Here's the difference between your age and mine. I was telling Nick off air, I had half a tank yesterday, and I thought, I better fill this sucker up for the week.
I don't know. I have a hard time filling my tank up all the way because it just feels like it's so much money all at once. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're going to do it at some point.
Yeah, I know. And I try to tell myself that, but...
This kind of stuff reminds me of that great line from the movie Tombstone, which was on twice last night, by the way, on one of my cable. I can watch Tombstone. Oh yeah, they just play. They know what works on whatever channel this was. They just play the piss out of Tombstone and Rambo movies. But anyway, it reminds me of that line from Tombstone where Billy Bob Thornton's character is playing cards, and whoever he's playing cards with is pissing him off, and he goes, Jesus H. Christ, it's like playing cards with my brother's kids. Sometimes it feels that way around here. So what else is going on? It's Monday morning. Randy Shaver's not feeling well, but I'm sure Brad Ryder's willing to join us at 7:30 to talk about all these ball games.
Sure is.
and the stupid news and everything is headed your way before you friggin' know it. Thanks for dialing us up. We'll take a break and come right back here on the Programski.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
Stupid news on the Half-assed Morning Show.
All right. Well, if you've been listening from the damn get-go, we had some silliness go down already. And it's only Monday morning. 5-day work week this week, by the way.
Yeah.
It's only Monday morning we had some silliness happen. Ashley found a new way to be late to work. She ran out of gas in her motor vehicle this way. That doesn't make any sense this way. She ran out of gas in her motor vehicle this morning on her way to work.
Ah, so close, too.
And again, like Josh said earlier, how can we be upset because something like that is totally unavoidable? But you mentioned that some kind of highway helper swung by and gave you a ride or whatever happened. Some kind of highway helper gave you some gas or gave you a ride. Got a text message. You weren't sure who it was? Well, I can tell you right now. He says his name is Michael. He texted the program. Michael says here in this text message, please tell Ashley, thank you for the shout out this morning. I work for First Highway Helper. I'm the one that gave her gas. Well, we know what he means. Glad I could help. Love helping people. I hope this gets to her. Isn't that nice?
That is so sweet. I'm so
Michael?
glad he listens.
Michael, hang around this neighborhood this time every morning if you can. It's only a matter of time before you'll be needed again. Hang around if you can.
Chills over here.
The highway helper was the first person who ever diagnosed me with epilepsy, believe it or not. I'd been misdiagnosed my whole life. I got into a wreck. I didn't know exactly what happened. Passed out at the wheel, wasn't sure, and the highway helper, he's the only one that stopped. By the way, 2 state troopers went right by me, didn't do a thing, but a highway helper did.
They're the second best helpers that I've ever known in my life. Number
I can guess the first?
Number one being
Hamburger.
Yeah.
Tuna helper is a decent one, too, but I'm going to put highway helper between hamburger and tuna. So he's like, you know what? I bet you had a seizure. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it was a seizure. And he's like, no, you probably did. It happened to my girlfriend. Turns out she had epilepsy. There was some scar tissue on her brain, which they think caused it. And so I thought, that's very kind of him to, he helped me out, and he mentioned that. And so I went to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, we think you had a seizure. And then they did all the tests, and they're like, you definitely had a seizure. They checked my brain. You got some scar tissue on your brain. We believe you have epilepsy, and we think the scar tissue caused it. Everything he said was 100% correct.
Wow. These people are brilliant.
They're a hero to me.
They might as well be surgeons. So thank you, Michael, for helping Ashley this morning. And by the way, in case you don't know, and how would you, with our text machine, the way it works here in the building, we can kind of see what each other are texting listeners. Like I can, if I want to be snoopy, I can see what Josh texts to people. I can see what Wapple texts to people and all the way around like that. I did not mean to snoop, but I saw, Ashley, your response to Michael via the text machine when he said, I'm the one who helped out Ashley. I'm happy to help Ashley. This is Ashley's response. Hey, Michael, Ashley here. Thank you again for your help. You're a life savior.
I knew you were going to call me out on my mistake there. I know I messed that up.
You are a
And then I was going to correct it, and I was like, I don't want to double text him. He's busy. He's driving.
He's helping people.
You did send him a couple of pretty inappropriate photos.
Oh!
In your gratitude.
What if something funny that he said that made me laugh is because I was like, yeah, I told him the story about Dana, and I was like, I've been texting my boyfriend too, but he hasn't answered, and he goes, Just when you need them, huh? And he's like, tell him that another man helped you out.
A real man.
And he goes, actually, don't tell him that, or don't tell him my name. I don't want him upset with you. And I was like, no, this will be fun.
I
Don't
guarantee
worry.
this guy could kick your boyfriend's ass.
Yeah.
Not in the dance contest.
True that.
Dance off. He's going to own you.
Yep. All right, here we go. Let's launch ourselves into today's Stupid News Report. It's been a while since we've had the pleasure of discussing a nail gun disaster. Everyone has a good nail gun story, even if you're not the one who had a nail gun go sideways on you. Everyone knows somebody who has pierced themselves during a nail gun F-up. I've mentioned this before, and I will again. One of my oldest pals, all in separate incidents, he has upped and fired a nail from a nail gun through the palms of both hands and through the top of one of his feet. So he's joked around that if he can manage to accidentally fire another nail through the top of his other foot, he'll complete what he calls the Jesus. Here's why we're talking nail gun fun. And all the carpenters we have in our listening audience, I'm sure you've had your own adventures with nail guns, and you've heard all the stories already. I got one more here for you. One more nail gun story until the next one, I guess. A construction worker in, F me running, how does the guy say this? Malaysia. 30-year-old fella. A nail gun malfunctioned on him while he was on the job ski. And a nail, it shot through his eye hole and became lodged in his brains.
Oh.
Brains.
Yuck.
Brains. Here's the gist of it all. First off, dude was using an air-pressured nail gun without wearing protective goggles. He was raw dogging it. No goggles. For Pete's sake. The gun jammed on a pimp. And F me. The guy looked down the barrel to see what was going on. And he accidentally blew a nail into his left eye socket.
That is like the number one thing you don't do with anything that has a barrel on it.
Man.
Oh, no.
So off to the emergency room he went. When he got there, he was bleeding all over the damn place. He had a bitch of a headache.
I bet the pressure was so painful.
He couldn't see Dick Tracy out of that one eye that he had just unloaded a nail into at 100 miles an hour. But doctors said he was acting normally otherwise. He was calm and cognizant and all that. The nail had buried itself into what they call here the frontal lobe of the dude's brains. And they say that particular spot is vital for movement and speech. And the nail had also broken a couple of bones up there in the dude's eye socket. But here's the deal. The nail somehow missed all vital arteries and nerves. The sumbitch lived. And he hasn't suffered any long-term damage as far as his brains go. He underwent emergency brains surgery. And doctors put his eyelids back together for him, too. So no long-term brain damage as far as, so far. The bad news is, I guess the poor bastard is having some problems seeing out of that eye, and he's still visiting doctors to try to straighten that deal out. But all in all, this is one lucky Malaysian.
Yeah, I think if that was like the only lasting effect after taking a nail to the brain, I'd be okay.
Jesus, wear your damn safety goggles.
Don't stare down the barrel of a nail gun.
Has everyone here used a nail gun? I've never shot one before.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
I've got 2.
I haven't been allowed to.
I'll bring one in.
Okay.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun. It's tempting to F off almost immediately.
Yeah.
That'd be my biggest concern.
It is too much fun.
It is tempting to F off almost as soon as you feel the cold steel of that nail gun in the palm of your hand. You want to do something stupid.
It's too much power for me to handle.
But you don't.
Rockhound Jesus just had a nail shoot off a metal plate and hit him in the face Friday. Oof, hope you're all right. Ow. Orton lover Jesus just got some flavored lube in a white elephant game over Christmas. Hasn't tried it yet, but she's excited. Not related whatsoever to our conversation, but I thought that was pretty exciting news.
Yeah, that is exciting news.
Thank you for letting us know.
We were talking about that last week.
Got some flavored lube, and she hasn't tried it. Okay. Oh, God. Just wear your safety goggles. Personally, I think most fellas, ladies or fellas, look cool wearing safety goggles.
Yeah.
I would like if we had a reason to wear safety goggles around here all day long. But we don't.
Maybe we could have a day. I'll bring in some safety goggles for everyone and just, to raise awareness.
Yeah. Safety Goggle Awareness Week.
I'd be down.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer kind of made that cool around here a little bit.
Oh, back when you used to wear the sunglasses inside?
Kept falling out?
God dang, that's right. That dude would have an eyeball fall out of his skull once a month.
Yeah, he had to, Dana.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it was douchey.
No. Because
his eyes were falling out.
He had terrible problems with his eyes.
Imagine just sitting there at the bar with your buddy, like, dude, you got an eye hanging out there. Oh, shoot, let me pop that back in quick. Sorry about that.
I ran a staple gun over the weekend. Those also.
A powered one?
No.
No, just the regular one?
It also immediately, you want to fire one across the room and hit. Like in this case, I was hanging out with my brother. I wanted to wait for him to walk away and then, snap him in the lower lumbar with a staple. But it's just, you get that feeling instantly. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how much of this is legitimate or what, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. It's a story smooth out of Lexington, Kentucky. Now, this could start trouble right here. The folks at the Lexington Convention and Visitors Bureau, whatever that is, believe it or not, the word is they've gone ahead and fired an infrared laser beam into outer space to invite extraterrestrials to stop by when they get a chance.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Why tempt fate?
Yeah, I've seen some movies.
Apparently, the infrared laser beam that they fired on up into space can write a message for the little faraway spacemen to read. And according to the story, the message says this here. The first thing you'll notice as you descend through Earth's atmosphere above central Kentucky is the lush green countryside that surrounds Lexington's vibrant city center. That's our famous bluegrass. It goes on to describe gentle rolling hills, horse farms, and bourbon before suggesting places that the aliens can stay and eat and shop. Okay, so this is a silly tourism gimmick.
Yeah.
There's a Super 8 down the road. They serve really good breakfast. Like, what?
How do you know about the Super 8 breakfast down the road?
I would love to see a drunk alien. That'd be pretty sweet.
How would you be able to tell, out of curiosity, your experience with the sober ones?
Yeah. Well,
I would love to see
stumbling around town.
A drunk alien that sounds like a drink you could get.
Yeah.
It does.
All right, I'm not sure what to believe at this point, but the story makes it sound like this Lexington Convention and Visitors Bureau actually did fire some kind of message into outer space. I believe that they say they worked with scientists to beam this message toward potentially habitable planets 40 light years away. You read the story, Josh?
Yeah.
They really did this?
I don't know if it really went that far, but they shot lasers into space.
this message up into space. Okay.
How do we know we're not telling them to F off and you guys are too chicken to come attack our world?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's the good news. It'll take so long for the message to get to the aliens and so long for them to get here, we'll be dead and gone by the time they show up pissed off anyway.
Not our problem.
That's a good point.
It's the same thing with this environment thing. Sometimes people get on my case and be like, well, what about the environment? And I say, well, I'll be dead in 20. What the hell do I care? I'll be dead in 20 years. What do I care if this place is a trash pile?
That'd be sweet if they just said, I'm not your buddy, guy.
I'm not your guy, friend.
The aliens are Canadian now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
and South Park fans.
If that's how it is, Wapple, if the aliens are Canadian, then you have a very good chance to see one that is drunk.
That's true.
Do you folks enjoy it when animals do very human things?
Very much so.
Sometimes.
Pardon me?
Sometimes they can look weird.
The answer is only sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes it looks weird or creeps me out. Or like if a gorilla shows how smart they are, like by doing very, very human-like things, I'm like, they're going to take over.
What about a squirrel on a surfboard?
That's fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're missing the point, Ashley, and you worry too much.
What about a Pomeranian dressed to go to prom?
Oh, that's cute.
Just a cute little dog-sized cummerbund.
Oh, I would love that.
Dressed to go to prom. When animals do very human things. If you like that, if you haven't overthought the thing like Ashley, well, then you'd like Chinese TikTok. Maybe, I mean, if you don't already love Chinese TikTok, maybe some of you are all over chat. Apparently over that way, everyone was losing their minds over a video of a panda bear knocking on a door at a local zoo.
Love pandas.
So it's okay if pandas do human things? You're okay with that?
Yeah, they're adorable. They're so goofy and silly.
It does look like a human being knocking on a door. And this panda is named Poo Poo. Poo Poo the panda was so human-like in the way he pounded on the door once this video hit Chinese TikTok. Folks were convinced it was a human dressed up in a panda bear suit. The controversy online was referred to as, who wants to take a guess?
Poo Poo Gate.
It was not Poo Poo Gate, but that's a great guess. A panda knocking on a door. Is it a real panda or is it a human in a panda suit? It was referred to as...
Pandemonium?
That's right, Wapple.
Well
Thank
done.
you for showing up.
Nice, Wapple.
Pandemonium.
Yes.
Folks,
I wrote the story.
I'm sorry?
I wrote the story.
Folks argued back and forth online about whether it was a panda or a manda. But it was Poo Poo the panda all along, and now everyone can move on with their lives. In the video, Poo Poo is pounding on this door. He was trying to get the zoo's staff attention so they could give a panda bear some more of that bamboo that they love so much. By damn, do they love that bamboo.
Do you know you can't see a panda in the U.S. anymore? You used to be able to see it, a panda at like the San Diego Zoo, I believe, and the zoo that they have in Washington, D.C.
Well, tell us why. Why can't we see pandas at zoos in the United States anymore if what you're telling us is true?
From my knowledge, we loaned them from China or Asia. I can't remember where.
Borrowed?
Yes. Yep, we borrowed them, and then they were like, all right, time's up. Give them back. We were like, okay, bye, pandas.
If you want to see a panda, I got a guy.
I really want to see a panda.
We'll show you a panda.
This has got to be one of the damn dumbest ideas I've ever seen. A dude in India, he went ahead and put lipstick and makeup and women's clothes and all that on. He put all that on so he could take a college exam in place of his girlfriend.
That's really nice of him.
The difficult part of the story to believe is that apparently he did fool a few people, and I thought the disguise was pretty effing weak.
It looks like a dude to me.
Right. Officials at a school called Baba Farid University caught on to this numbskull. The dude, whose name is Angrez, he showed up to take the exam dressed up like his girlfriend. It says here his getup did fool some of the staff, but he didn't fool what they call here the biometric scanners, whatever that is. Anyone? Biometric scanners.
Like fingerprint.
Yeah, fingerprint.
Oh,
Yeah, wow,
face.
that's kind of cool that they do all that.
Facial recognition type stuff.
Angres is currently under investigation by the local police. He and his girlfriend have pissed some people off with this dumbass little caper. They say his girlfriend had attempted the same exam before and failed it, so Angres offered to take her place and hopefully pass. Come on, man. He looks like a friggin' moron in these pictures. It's just so bad. I didn't think there was anything believable about it. Yeah.
The ID picture is pretty funny. And this guy doesn't like to smile, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Got a pouty face.
You guys ever have any elaborate cheating setups when you were taking tests in high school or in, what do you call that next level, college?
No, but there's some kids in 7th grade where they sat right next to me and they told me the scheme they had. Hey, if you hear this, this is what's going on. The guy in front would kind of lean back, stretch, put his hands behind his head, and hold up the number of the question he was having trouble with.
Sure.
And the guy behind him would cough the amount for A, B, C, or D.
That is so smart.
I like that.
Oh, there you go. C, got it.
Right. That's cute.
With my luck, if I was the fake cougher, I would eventually start real coughing. He'd get everything wrong.
Wait, so the answer is M? There's no M. It's A, B, C, or D.
Man, I was such a terrible, terrible student. I wish I would have. I mean, it wouldn't have done me any good in the long run, because I still would have walked out of school without learning anything. But me and my bros were never clever enough to come up with anything like that. I mean, sure, there was always just the easy, sit next to a dude who knew what he was doing and before class say, hey, man, can I look at your answers? That was about as elaborate as we got, just because we didn't have we weren't built for that elaborate cheating type setups. Sounds like fun, though.
Yeah.
If you can get away with it, that sounds like fun. School teachers all over the world keep getting gassed for their sexually charged side gigs. This here time around, what we have is an Austrian elementary school gym teacher who is one of those know-it-all sex coaches on the side. And it cost her the teaching job she's been holding down for the last 8 years. The grade school didn't like that so much when they found out. A gym teacher. I got a buddy who's a science teacher, and he hates the gym teachers that he works with.
Oh, really? Why?
Because he says they don't do jack squat. And one night I asked him about it. I'm like, so what is it that you hate about the gym teachers? And he says this: they just roll a ball out there. That's all they got to do. They just roll it out.
No lesson planning, no grading, really. All right, well, you showed up and you had your gym shorts on, you get an A.
And I said, that's really all they do. And he says it again. They just roll the ball out. That's all they do. They just roll it out.
He's so mad.
He's mad.
Did you guys ever have the gym teacher that was overly competitive and would play floor hockey or dodgeball with the kids and get really, really super into it?
No.
Middle school.
Yeah, we had a couple of those in high school.
I wonder how he's doing now. How that worked out for him.
There was one gym teacher when we were kids. I mean, me and Big Al tortured this sumbitch so bad. If I were him, I would have choked us both to death. We just didn't do anything other than antagonize this dude every minute of every day. I don't know why he didn't just hold us down and kill us.
Physics teacher Jesus says that all kids cheat on tests. And he wishes a few of their moms would at conferences. Oh, I'll bet.
That's a cute line. I like that.
He also agrees about gym teachers.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy, this is good. A few people have texted in the same thing. They would print out some cheater notes on a water bottle label. So the white part underneath, right? And then they just put put the label back on. So take a sip and you got your answer.
They started.
So wait, but hang on a second. So you read the inside of your water bottle label. Oh my, gee, that
I never would have thought of
that's
something.
very
like that.
clever.
They started checking those, and when I was in high school, the inside of the water because they learned about it finally.
Oh, they figured it out.
Yeah, and it just turned to like only reusable water bottles or no water at all out during the test.
We always put them in for math tests to cheat. We would always put the notes in our calculators.
Well, wait a minute. I asked you guys about cheating a minute ago, and you said no.
Yeah, that's
now
weird.
You did what?
I just thought of it. It just came to me.
I never was much of a cheater. I just I've heard about that. That's about it.
You did what, Dana?
They have those graphing calculators, the TI-83s with the big screen
idea
stuff.
what you're talking about.
There's more of my generation. But
Dana's talking about.
You could put like formulas and equations in the notes area, kind of hide it in there so you could.
And teachers weren't aware of this?
They could look for them, but you could hide it well enough that they wouldn't be able to find it.
Wow. Real quick. I mean, just to give you an example of how friggin' obnoxious Big Al and I were in 8th grade with this friggin' gym teacher. We just hated this prick, and we had no reason to hate him just because we were 14-year-old kids and wanted to be dicks.
Yeah.
But one of the things we used to do, just to drive him friggin' nuts, is we'd go outside and play soccer. Well, that put me and Al in a bad mood right away.
Yep.
Why are we playing soccer? Nobody cares about soccer. So what we would do is, when the ball was just barely inbounds, we would, sometimes you want to kick the ball out of bounds just to get yourself out of trouble playing soccer, right? My team's in trouble. I better kick the ball out of bounds. But we would kick it as far as we possibly. The ball would be right on the line. All we had to do was just tap it out of bounds and get a whistle. We'd kick it as far as we possibly could out of bounds, so the teacher would have to go chase the damn thing.
Brutal.
Oh, and one day he just snapped at us, man. Okay, I didn't get any sleep last night.
Sand Farmer Jesus wants me to ask you, Wapple, about your junior high school gym teacher. Supposedly very attractive.
Oh, yeah, she was gorgeous. Yeah, everyone wanted her number.
We never had that problem.
Oh, yeah. There was one time, my buddy, she was like in charge of pushing the garbage can during lunch or whatever. My buddy tried to give her number.
Give her his number?
Yeah. It was
Come on, a junior high kid?
Yeah, it was on the milk carton. He wrote it on there.
Did he think he had any chance? Well, you know what? I mean,
What if
you read the
you
news
shot?
nowadays, maybe he did.
I think he did.
So here's a gal again, a gal who teaches gym in Austria, and she's been fired because on the side, she's a sex coach. She goes by the name of Monica Ring. She's made it up to 47 years old at this point. Her specialty with the sex coach gig was supposedly teaching over-the-hill middle-aged folks how to bump. She would tell folks in their 40s and up that she could teach them how to have a, quote, explosive sex life with multiple orgasms. That's just gross.
Yeah, that is gross.
I mean, maybe multiple over the course of your life, but in one session?
Yeah.
Yuck.
You know how my buddy hates and judges all gym teachers to be bad? I do the same thing with sex coaches. I'm so tired of these friggin' people. But anyway, this gal is currently protesting her dismissal, is how they say it. But the school doesn't seem to care. The local school board stood by its decision to throw her out onto her ass. She advertises her services on TikTok and Facebook. She calls herself the, quote, Orgasm Pope.
I hate her. I hate her.
That's dumb.
That's pretty cringy.
Orgasm Pope? The school board said, Miss Ring, and I don't want any jokes here. This is serious. They said that she couldn't have it both ways. Here come the text messages. They demanded she pick one gig or the other. More or less, do you want to teach little kids how to play freeze tag? Or do you want to teach saggy old folks how to tickle prostates or whatever the hell? I don't know. They said you can do one or the other. But then I guess they just smooth canned her. She's upset. She says she never appeared in the nude online. She never did anything pornographic, whatever that means. Her lawyer said, I would have thought that a school board in the 21st century would be a bit more enlightened.
Well, aren't
Well, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
maybe it's different in Austria, but aren't oftentimes gym teachers the sex ed teachers?
Yeah, that was the way it was in my high school.
Yep.
So there you go.
Also, I brought up if you guys had an overly competitive gym teacher back in the day who would compete against the kids. A guy who teaches at my old high school knew exactly who I was talking about. He just texted into the show and dropped the guy's name. I go, yep, that's exactly who I was referring to.
But like I was saying, this is happening all over the damn place. We talked about the now former University of Wisconsin chancellor dude named Joe Gow. He lost his job last year after it came out that he films porno movies with his old lady. And plenty of teachers have been let go in the last few years because they're turning their gear loose on that OnlyFans gimmick. So there you go. We never had that problem that Wapple and his buddies had with a super hot teacher. Didn't happen at any of my schools. I mean, when I was in fifth grade, I certainly thought one of my teachers was hot, and I told you before I got a talking to because she caught me looking down her shirt constantly. She pulled me aside and said, "You need to stop looking directly down my damn shirt." But that was just because I was a fifth grade kid who I would look down anyone's friggin' shirt.
Yeah.
We never had that spicy hot number that like you saw in the Van Halen video.
Yeah, we had the gym teacher that was hot, and then we also had the Spanish teacher who was muy caliente.
Did you take Spanish?
1 year, but I never had her as the teacher.
Son of a bitch!
Then what's the point of taking it a second year?
That's why you signed up, wasn't it?
Yep.
So you could be hanging out with Senora Caliente.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was Alfonso.
That was your Spanish name?
Yeah, we had to pick a Spanish name, and it had to start with the letter of the alphabet. So I was Alfonso.
It had to start with a letter in the alphabet?
Like from the alphabet?
Like A, Andrew,
yeah, because your name's...
What you mean to say is it had to start with the same first letter as your real name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course,
we had to do the same thing.
Yeah. Everyone who took Spanish had to take a we got to choose ours out of nowhere. I believe I remember what I was. Raul.
Oh, sexy.
Raul. And I was very good at it. I was very good at Spanish.
I could never roll my R's.
I only really excelled, really put in an effort in one class in my entire scholastic career, and that was Spanish. I loved the teacher. He was this cool-ass dude, and that was kind of how I based my decision on whether or not I was going to make an effort or not if I liked the teacher. And there was only one that I liked, and I applied myself. Isn't that sad? That's just stupid. It was stupid. If I didn't like the teacher, I just put my head down and fell asleep. Didn't care what. But for Senor Kivo was his name. I busted my ass, and I was one Spanish-speaking sumbitch. But, I don't know, what would you guys say? You guys all probably effed around with foreign languages. 6 months later, I forgot everything that I learned.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took 2 years of German. I can count maybe to 10.
Yeah.
And then I took a year of Spanish, and I can't remember much.
I wish they would have offered sign language. I would have loved to take that.
Oh, I took sign language in college, and just like you guys were saying, I got really, really good at it. Completely gone now.
Oh, really? My boyfriend took sign language in college, and he still knows how to do a few things. Actually, he's tried having conversations with your wife, Josh, because isn't she fluent?
Yeah, she's
sign
fluent.
language.
So is my mom.
That's so cool.
I remember. Well, I guess maybe here's one word that I do remember. Nada. Is that Spanish? Nada?
Yeah, doesn't it mean no?
Yeah, that's fitting.
Good job.
I remember nada.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
And now you've got your 330-pound all-star going down on a cornerback.
The Lions in the red zone.
I love they just let it sit.
It's my favorite.
I missed that.
Yeah, I did too.
300-pound all-pro tackle going down on a quarterback?
Yeah, I watched I watched the whole Lions game. I never saw that.
Never saw that act?
No. Letdown.
Had to catch a replay day on NFL Network. Check that out.
Yeah, you think it's on a highlight package or something?
Here's the deal. In a half hour, we'll get into wild detail. Just distinct, exact detail on everything that went on this weekend with the NFL games, with the this and with the that. We'll be talking with Brad Ryder. Randy Shaver, a little under the weather today. He's going to take the day to himself. But Brad Ryder, he'll check in, tell us this, that. We'll have to tell him some things, I bet. He doesn't always know much. We'll have to tell him some things. But we are down to the final four in this year's NFL playoff. Yesterday, the Detroit Lions were too much for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And effing Kansas City is going to play in, I think, their 6th AFC title game in a row.
I believe that's what I saw last night.
After beating the Buffalo Bills by 3. Friggin' kicker for the Bills. He missed that sumbitch. Saturday's game, San Francisco squeaked by Green Bay. Baltimore completely curb-stomped Houston. So we'll talk about this Final Four when Brad Ryder joins us. Timberwolves, who disappointed their fans and themselves Saturday night at home, losing to Oklahoma City the way they did. They got a home game tonight with the Charlotte Hornets. The Pigs have won a couple of road games in a row. We'll talk about that. Golden Gopher hockey swept Ohio State over the weekend. We got plenty to cover with Brad Ryder. For now, stay tuned for Josh's news report.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
Business has always been a half-assed morning show. 93X.
Can you tell me why you're here? Because I deserve that, right?
Because all this blood and everything all over the ground, we had somebody call us about it.
It's a pretty bad one.
There's blood everywhere?
There's blood everywhere. A Florida woman terrorized her ex-boyfriend, first by throwing around his clothes during an argument.
Throwing around my clothes?
It happened.
I need those.
Then stopping him from leaving her apartment. Okay, that's bad.
Yeah.
Then she choked him with his gold chain.
Oh.
Then he demanded that he hit her so she'd have bruises. And then finally, she sicked her dog named Wasabi on him to bloody effect.
Wasabi.
Last Monday, an officer was performing speed enforcement at approximately 12:36 a.m. when a man covered in blood and deep laceration marks on both forearms parked his car next to the officer, stepped out, and ran to the patrol vehicle. He told the deputy his ex-girlfriend had her dog attack him in their nearby apartment. The man said 34-year-old Jennifer Flores, his ex, contacted him earlier in the day to come over. They were no longer in a relationship, having been together for 8 years and lived together as a family unit approximately 3 years ago. But they still mess around in a sexual manner, he said.
Absolutely.
Sure.
This time, however, things took a violent turn. The victim said he couldn't feel his arm because of the dog attack and wasn't able to write a statement because of his injuries. Law enforcement described a contentious scenario as they arrived at Flores' nearby apartment. After some prodding, Jennifer eventually came to the front door only covered in a blue blanket. Authorities tried to have her put some clothes on, but she kept speaking over them. She allegedly didn't quit talking even after they...
And so whipped that he went along with it.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cops wouldn't buy that one, right? Yeah, the bruises are because she wanted me to do that.
She asked me to.
But this dog really took a toll on a pimp.
Yeah, well-trained dog, I guess.
Yeah.
A loud, snoring Pennsylvania man allegedly stabbed his neighbor with whom he had a long-standing feud with over the nighttime noise. After the victim had repeatedly complained he could hear the rumbling nighttime noise coming through the walls connecting their homes, 55-year-old Christopher Casey had finally had enough, and he was arrested for stabbing 62-year-old Robert Wallace when an argument over the snoring turned violent.
You can't just stab a guy.
Wallace showed up at Casey's residence while he was eating dinner last week. pulled out a screen and unlocked a window on Casey's porch before the two began yelling at each other. Casey told police Wallace hadn't been threatening him at any time over their long-running feud, but revealed the two had been having personal issues for the past 18 months, prompting numerous police calls over Wallace's complaints about his snoring. About 20 minutes of speaking through the window, Casey told police Wallace appeared to calm down, wanted to shake hands, and even offered to help pay for nasal surgery to help with his snoring. But Casey didn't believe that was genuine. As a result, Casey decided to surprise Wallace by stabbing him. Wallace was surprised! Wallace was taken to a hospital, the same hospital Casey was taken to be treated for a self-inflicted stab wound to his thigh.
That sounds like a real nightmare there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that snoring must have been bad and a couple of bad tempers there.
I consider myself a world-class snorer. I think I can hang with the best of them.
An armed and dangerous thief has been breaking into the homes of women he was stalking, stealing their underwear, and even taking the time to rearrange one of his victims' furniture in order to freak her out.
Absolutely terrifying.
38-year-old Jacob Smart, named Thursday as the man police in Idaho had been hunting over the last several months for carrying out a string of burglaries in Boise. The looter was caught on multiple surveillance videos, nonchalantly walking to his victims' properties, one time feeling comfortable enough to pet the homeowner's dog as it followed him around the yard. He also forced his way inside on several occasions by kicking down doors, video shows. Once inside the homes, he allegedly nabbed their underpants, debit and credit cards, weapons, and more. In at least one instance, Smart did some redecorating, according to cops. In another burglary, the suspect entered the home while the victims were asleep, stole house keys, and was then seen on surveillance video later attempting to re-enter the home, but the victims had already changed the locks. Smart's accused of carrying out 5 burglaries in Boise between August and October and may have continued his heist beyond state lines. So obviously they want to get this guy.
How many pairs of drawers is this gal down?
Didn't say. It's several women.
Several women.
Yeah, don't know for sure. Former Van Halen frontman David Lee Roth has added some fuel to the feud with his longtime rival and replacement Sammy Hagar, saying the vocalist had been, quote, sex probed by aliens after being abducted as a teen in California. According to Sam, he was abducted by aliens, Roth said Thursday during an episode of the Roth Show podcast. He said he was compelled to speak out about the abduction and subsequent alien butt stuff in an effort to explain Hagar's conduct over the years.
Absolutely terrifying.
I think we've arrived at both the technical and the medical answer that may explain some of Sammy Hagar's conduct and his constant spew of diarrhea vitriol in our direction. Sammy Hagar was abducted by aliens and he was sex probed. What's the mechanism of that? What might that, does it require apparatus? Is it a beam? We don't know. We may never know.
He's got away with words. David Lee Roth went on to explain the damage an alien sex probe can cause with helpful voice inflections on how it may sound to get backdoored by little green men.
But what I do know with absolute accuracy is that if you take a half of a popsicle and you jam it into a cassette tape player, no matter how carefully you extract it, that tape player will never play the same again. No matter how carefully you try and fix those delicate little parts, and it'll get worse, and it'll seem like the singer that you used to love will stop making sense whatsoever. A lot like Sam.
What's happening here?
This rant was fueled by a previous claim his rival frontman made in 2011 during an interview for his book, Red, My Uncensored Life in Rock, where Hagar told a reporter he believed he was abducted by aliens while growing up in California. Over the years, the two iconic rockers have had one of the more notable feuds in the music industry following Roth's departure from Van Halen at the peak of the band's career over creative differences. Roth's recent jab at his bitter rival may stem from a revoked invitation Hagar offered to him about his upcoming Best of All Worlds tour, featuring Van Halen's longtime bassist Michael Anthony, drummer Jason Bonham, son of Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham, and legendary guitarist Joe Satriani. If David Lee Roth wants to come out and join us, come on, mother effer, you're welcome. This is about Van Halen, Hagar said during a performance on the Howard Stern Show in November. However, after Roth accepted, Hagar made it clear the offer was off the table. He's not invited on the tour. No effing way. It was to sing a song with us somewhere, like a lot of singers, guitarists, etc. are going to do on this tour. I know better than to have him on tour again. Been there, done that, Hagar later said. Following his rant Thursday, Roth also revealed he spends about $100,000 on marijuana, enough to smoke his wife, he said. Or not his wife, his weight, but he might smoke his wife at some point. Sorry, tired. The Best of All Worlds tour is a 25-concert run this summer. Kicks off July 22nd. Unfortunately, at least so far, no scheduled dates in Minnesota or Wisconsin that I saw.
It's ridiculous that Roth and Hagar can't leave each other alone after all these years.
Yeah, and they get so just bitter. And
Just weird.
I thought I watched the performance on Howard Stern. They were great.
Who performed on Howard Stern?
Sammy Hagar and
Bonham and Satriani. Okay,
right.
yeah.
And Anthony. And they were great. And it was cool to see him say, yeah, we would love to have Roth join us. And lo and behold, then this comes about.
Did Stern ask him about the alien probing?
He did not bring that up.
He didn't bring that up, okay.
In related news out of Peru, tiny non-human mummified remains found there over the summer that spurred dozens of alien conspiracy theories are nothing more than dolls, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The creepy figures with only 3 fingers on each hand and elongated ET-style heads are made with paper, glue, metal, and human and animal bones. Their government had to announce this. They said examination showed the bones of birds, dogs, and other animals were used to create the effigies, except for their very poorly built hands, which were created with human bones. Officials still don't know who owns the freakish figures, only stating that despite all the massive media attention, they felt compelled to say something. They are not aliens.
He says a 4-year-old could have figured that out.
Yeah. Again, the government had to get out there and get ahead of this one. Which actually might make you a little suspicious now that I think about it. A day of celebration quickly turned into a horror show when a tech CEO plunged 15 feet to his death, sadly. This happened in an onstage mishap in front of horrified employees in India. The CEO of Viztex and the Viztex president were both inside an iron cage that was being lowered onto a stage as part of their grand entrance to a company party when a wire snapped.
Oh, boy.
Shocking video showed the moment. The cage hovering near the rafters began to wobble as fireworks exploded, and a voice implored the crowd to put their hands together for the pair. The cage then quickly dropped to one side, sending the 2 heads of the company hurtling 15 feet to the ground. One of the men completely flipped over, landing head first, video shows. Tragically, the CEO was killed in the accident. The company's president was left in critical condition.
Jesus. Who's next in line, and do they want the gig?
Yeah, awful. There's a packed house there, too, watching this happen.
Turned into a Owen Hart kind of a thing, huh?
A stuntman steering a car with his feet while sitting on its roof lost control and struck a barrier during an exhibition in northern Italy. This happened Friday, injuring 9 spectators. Video shows the driver taking his place on the roof and starting to steer with his feet before the car quickly spun out of control, striking the barrier where dozens of people were standing to watch the show. Many tumbled to the ground, 9 taken to hospitals for light injuries. The announcer can be heard in the video saying he's driving like that before his tone grew more urgent, yelling attention to the spectators. It was part of the Motorbikes Expo. The remaining outdoor events were canceled on Friday, but the rest of it went on as planned. They're actually looking into possible charges.
It took out
really?
How many people got taken out in that schmear?
9 people for injuries, but he hit more.
Yeah.
I forget. Did I send you that video, Ashley?
Yep, that's up on 93x.com.
Shoplifters who fled a Philadelphia Walmart to avoid getting nabbed left behind a 3-month-old baby girl. Security reported trying to stop a woman and 2 men from swiping stuff about 11 p.m. Thursday. As the suspects fled, they left behind a 3-month-old they had brought along with them.
Well, whose kid is that?
Well, that's what they're trying to figure out. They know one of the parents. They don't believe that parent was involved in the shoplifting spree, but as of press time, it wasn't clear if any of the suspects were related to the child, nor what they were trying to swipe.
Isn't that something? After the dust settles, someone just says, whose kid is this? Wait a minute.
Where'd this one come from?
That's a kid. That's a kid over there, right?
Seems like a bad trade. A kid for whatever they were getting at Walmart there. A radio station in southeastern Oklahoma is off the air after the owners say thieves stole copper from the broadcast tower.
Like something that would happen to us.
Yes.
Will Payne with Payne Media Group. Yeah, there's a difference, though, and I'll explain in a second if that happened to us. Will Payne with Payne Media Group says the thieves probably caused $500,000 worth of damage, but only got away with about $100 worth of copper. I guarantee the copper would be worth more than our transmitter. Sure.
We need to be able to reach the citizens of Northeast Texas and Southeast Oklahoma with life-saving information. And you've taken our voice off the air needlessly for, $100 worth of copper? Shame on you.
Payne said when the station unexpectedly went off the air last Monday night, he thought it was because of the weather, but he went the next morning to check it out. He knew something was wrong. The radio tower for KITX is now on the ground and in pieces. Payne said he's working with the local sheriff's office and going to local scrap yards to see if he can get any information on the thieves.
Well, here's the way I look at it. If a fire in studio can't get us a few days off, maybe this kind of a thing can.
Police in Indiana arrested a 25-year-old Indianapolis man after he allegedly ordered Buffalo Wild Wings workers. He offered to trade them some marijuana in exchange for fried pickles.
That's just insane, that someone would try to do something like that. It's just a crazy world now.
Wow. I don't even like fried pickles, but nothing surprises me on the east side of Indianapolis anymore.
Just before midnight, January 14th, employees called police after two men came inside after the restaurant had already closed. In an ill-advised bid to get the kitchen reopened, 25-year-old Justin Carpenter, who was wearing an ankle monitor as a result of a prior drug arrest, proposed a barter in exchange for B-Dub's employees, two of whom were minors, by the way, offering them THC vape cartridges, cocaine, and ecstasy if they opened the kitchen back up and made them some fried pickles.
Too bizarre and too crazy even to believe. I don't know what to think.
Over fried pickles, no.
The man allegedly said, if you make us some fried pickles, I'll make it worth it. Employees didn't agree to the drugs for pickles trade, and Carpenter departed the Buffalo Wild Wings. Before leaving, though, investigators say he left 3 small bags of marijuana on the restaurant's front counter and told the manager, give those bags to the kids. The adult employee notified their manager instead.
Next time, bring some beer. You'll get those pickles.
Guy really wanted some fried pickles.
A man found out Friday that a downtown Pittsburgh bagel shop is not a clothing-optional eatery. Police arrested a man at a Bruegger's after receiving reports that he was exposing himself. According to court documents, they saw a naked man standing in the doorway when police arrived. Police said his eyes were bloodshot, his breath smelled of alcohol. 40-year-old Brandon George faces a preliminary hearing later this month.
Gotta get your clothes on before you walk into joints like that.
I guess so.
I get excited for bagels too, but I always remember to at least put a pair of drawers on.
You got to. Mm-hmm. The second season premiere of the America's Most Wanted reboot starts tonight on Fox. The old 93X app was not so great. So after decades of letting everyone down, we've improved it. You can get the newly upgraded 93X app wherever you download apps that have disappointed you in the past. If you set your phone settings to update apps automatically, it will probably already be updated, but if you haven't, it will be soon. Looking forward to check that out.
Yeah, me too.
I know everyone around here is pretty excited about it, so it sounds like it's finally going to be good.
I downloaded this morning. It works pretty well.
Oh, it pretty well only?
Oh, I haven't dove into it too far yet, but it works good. It works good.
Hey, let me get a look at this thing before we make any judgments on it.
The app master, Nick.
Linda Blair, star of The Exorcist, 65. Yeah. Original Journey singer and Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Steve Perry, 75.
Wow.
Piper Laurie, the crazy mom in 1976's Carrie, is 92.
Oh, no kid. She's 92.
92.
I never thought she would have still been kicking.
I know I was having some issues with the text dealy bobber earlier, so I know we've got some shout-outs, so we'll have to do those at 9 a.m. I apologize for not being able to do them now, but I want to make sure I get yours in. So 9 a.m. we'll do the shout-outs. In the meantime, that's 93X News.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Love, pressure up the middle, throws across his body, and that is picked hits. 49ers have it. Greenlaw's still on his feet.
He's got to go down.
Just go down and the game's over.
You know, looking back on it, yeah, throw it away. I don't know if I had an opportunity to be able to run, maybe get out of bounds, but, you know, force it across the middle late, which is a mortal sin, and, you know, it costs us. So something I'll look at, but that's an area right there where I'll be able to look at, grow from, and get better in the future.
Shut up, Jordan Love. Nobody cares.
Oh, I like Jordan Love.
I do too.
Nobody cares. Here's the deal. Everyone and all the y'all, here's the deal. Randy Shaver went ahead and got himself sick over the weekend. He's sleeping. He's sleeping in this morning. Brad Ryder, you're on your own, son.
All righty.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Thank you for joining us. Randy wore himself out at his
pickleball event
fundraiser pickleball tournament over the weekend.
He was sick from the get-go. I saw him first thing in the morning Saturday, and he could barely talk. It was awesome.
Did he play though?
He did play, yeah.
He's such a hard-on.
What a gamer.
Yeah. Some call it a gamer. I call it a hard-on.
Denial could be another word, maybe.
He's in denial.
I think he bought his shirt at the children's store, Gymboree. It was
really
basically it was like he was wearing body paint.
Wow.
He's got that ripped body now, you know.
He's soft as a baby's ass. You could see his areolas right through the damn shirt.
Dude, that shirt was so tight. It was ridiculous.
Disgusting. What it is, he does not wear clothes that are age appropriate. They are not age appropriate, what he wears around
I might even
town.
have a picture.
I was going to say, did you get any pictures?
I think I might have.
Ooh, I want to see.
Josh is looking for a picture of
Trying
Randy's.
to be the hot grandpa.
Yeah. Here's the deal, Brad Ryder.
Yeah.
Here's a message you need to, and everyone needs to remember this morning. You don't want to mess with me. You don't want to mess with me. Apparently, I'm some type of a Nostradamus type of character. I was joking around last week, I should say. Last week, I was joking around knowing that Cubby and Randy Shaver and our bro, Dr. P, were heading out to this fundraiser pickleball tournament. I wished for an injury. I did.
You pretty much prayed for one.
I did. Nothing horrible.
To anyone in particular, or
yes,
just in general?
Yes,
oh, okay.
I did. Nothing horrible, nothing, ambulances didn't need to come running, but I wished for Josh or Dr. P or Randy Shaver.
You said someone, and you threw us in there. You said you just want somebody to get horribly injured.
Well, okay. At any rate, my wish landed on the wrong person. I was hoping for
the record, I'd never throw you in on that if I had a wish. So it's a tad hurtful.
It would be fun
it's a bit hurtful.
You got to agree that if I would have gone to this pickleball tournament and you would have stayed home, you have to agree that it would have been pretty damn funny if I would have come in here with a torn Achilles tendon.
Not at all. Not at all.
But here's the deal. My wish landed on an innocent person at this tournament. Josh was telling us at one point or another, he's pickleballing back and forth, and he sees a crowd gather, and some dude's kneecap fell off.
Oh. Yeah, it went like two counties over. I felt so bad for this guy.
A dude lost a kneecap.
It looked bad.
Some folks texted in and are blaming Dan Campbell. Is that his name again?
Somebody bit his kneecap
Right,
off.
They're blaming Dan Campbell for this guy's missing kneecap. But
luckily, Dr. P was there. He helped him as much as he could. They took him to the hospital. And, Dr. P told me afterwards, I think that guy's going to need surgery, the poor guy. I felt so bad for him.
I feel evil.
I hope that it looked worse than it was. Well, of course, you're the first person me and Randy thought of. Hey, Nick got his wish.
Yeah.
he hoped for this last week.
I feel evil, but at the same time, I feel great power from this happening, where I wished an injury and it friggin' happened. You didn't have the time to show up, Brad, because folks were kind of hoping you could pickleball a little bit.
We talked about it on air, a couple weeks ago, and then I no pun intended, I kind of dropped the ball on it because I was going to reach out to Janelle, and we were going to be a mixed doubles team, remember? We talked about that on air.
That would have been hot stuff.
But then, but I just completely kind of forgot about it.
Happens.
Didn't do anything about it. Yeah.
You could have been my partner, Brad.
Yeah.
It would have been fun.
It happens, Brad Ryder. Well, here's the deal. We got this and that to cover, and we appreciate you being here to jaw jack with us. We're down to the final four in this year's NFL playoffs. So Saturday, San Francisco squeaked by the Green Bay Packers. Not by damn much.
That was a fun game.
No, and that's kind of what both Randy and I were talking about last week. We had a feeling Green Bay might win that game, if not stay in it the whole way, and they sure did.
I thought they were going to win.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, it looked like it.
I didn't see much of Saturday's ball games, either one of them. Maybe 5 minutes of the Green Bay.
They pretty much outplayed them the most of the game. I mean, other than the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game when the 49ers drove down and scored the winning touchdown, they outplayed them.
Yeah, I'll say this. The 5-10 minutes that I watched, it looked like Green Bay had them by the balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They end up losing that by a handful of points. Baltimore just completely curb-stomped the Houston Texans.
That was a game until the second half. It was tied. I think it was tied at halftime, and then Baltimore kind of dominated the second half.
Ooh, here's a text message from Zombie Jesus. He wants me to wish an injury upon him. He needs some time off, he says. Well, get back to me. What do you want? What do you want? What type of injury? And I'll try to conjure one up for you.
Because you did pray for a leg injury.
I was.
You were specific.
I was wishing for Achilles, hamstrings. What's the part that I'm missing, Josh?
ACL.
I didn't actually mention that.
Yeah, I don't remember everything you mentioned. It was just all lower body.
Lower body. Yesterday now, the Detroit Lions, they were too much for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. By damn, I had high hopes that Baker Mayfield and whoever else plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I had high hopes that they could ruin, just the heel in me was hoping that the Buccaneers could ruin this magical story of the Detroit Lions, but it wasn't in the cards. So the Lions moving on to the NFC Championship game. And effing Kansas City.
Your favorite team.
I said earlier, I thought yesterday when watching, this was maybe the game I paid the closest attention to, was last night's game.
Oh, it was a fun game.
I was thinking, is there a way for both teams to lose? Because I'm so burned out on both of these friggin' clubs. They play entertaining games against each other, these two clubs, and, back and forth they go. At the ass end of the game, Buffalo has, a 44-yard field goal? Is that the right number?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the poor bastard pushed it wide right. We were joking earlier, Brad Ryder, that Scott Norwood might finally be off the hook.
Yeah. Maybe.
And so Kansas City now goes to their 6th consecutive AFC title game.
Sean McDermott, after his 1-for-3 performance last week, he has tremendous support in the building. If he has to make one for us, with the game on the line, he will. 44 yards, Bass. No, he doesn't make it. Wide right. Wow. The two most dreaded words in Buffalo have surfaced again.
Completely on me. I got to do a better job of, getting through to my target. I got to do a better job of playing a little bit more left when you have a left to right. I've been here long enough to know that you have to do that. I feel terrible.
The announcer jinx.
Who was that? Who was that speaking right there? The kicker?
Tyler Bass. That was Tyler Bass.
Yeah.
The kicker.
Mahomes has a chance now. He's tied with Tom Brady for playoff wins at 13. So now he has a chance to
wait a minute.
Beat Tom Brady in that.
13 wins is the number for Tom Brady's total playoff wins?
Yeah, how's that possible?
That's what they put a little graphic on the TV last night, and that's what it said.
You should look that up. Doesn't it seem like Tom Brady had more than
35?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't Tom Brady?
Maybe it wasn't playoff wins. Maybe it was maybe it's like the
hot models thrown into the tall grass.
I don't like throwing all that on the kicker either, because I watched most of that game, and Dana obviously watched all that game. Yeah. But I don't understand why it seemed like about halfway through the third quarter the Bills went away from the run completely.
Yep.
Because they were running it down their throats the entire first half, and then I understand taking a shot or two once in a while, but they got completely away from the run. It seemed like most of that second half.
You know what? Now that you mention it, you're right. They were running it right up the gut.
Yeah.
Cook was just pounding them.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah.
So was Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they overthink the process, Brad Ryder?
I don't know, but it just seemed they take a shot now and then. I get it, but they threw 3 or 4 bombs, going for the home run.
Oh yeah.
And instead of just kind of doing what they were doing the first half, which was like we were saying, running it down their throat, controlling the line of scrimmage,
controlling the clock.
Yes. not giving Mahomes as many possessions as they did the second half. It just kind of seemed like they got away from what they were doing the first half.
I found the stat that I was talking about.
Give
it
it
was
to us.
the most postseason touchdowns between like a QB and a receiver duo.
Was it a receiver specifically, or was it a tight end? I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. They mentioned something about that.
They beat Tom Brady and Rob.
We are your stats headquarters.
Yeah, we got everything here.
We have all of your stats to a friggin' T. And, Buffalo had some drop passes and this and that along the way, but of course you can't put it all on the kicker. I mean, we're a special teams loving morning show here. We love special teams players. Tell me, what was it? Was the wind blowing like a sumbitch?
Yeah, it was supposedly really bad.
So it looked like that. I mean, that ball got blown to the right. At any rate, so coming up this Sunday in the American Football Conference Championship game, you'll see the Kansas City Chiefs at Baltimore. In the National Football Conference title game, Detroit at San Francisco. So with a week to go, who do you guys like? With a week away.
I think the Ravens are just playing way too well right now. I think they would have beat either one of these teams. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Ravens will win.
Josh and I love that Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Go beat the Chiefs by 30, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I want them or the Lions.
I want the Lions too, but I kind of got the same feeling about the 49ers-Lions game. I think the 49ers will win, and I think it'll be a closer game than people think too. But
Well, they have to match the colors of the logo, so the Lions can't win.
I'm sorry?
The logo of the Super Bowl, it's people project it to be the two teams to be like a red team and a purple team.
San Francisco and Baltimore.
Yeah,
because that was the thing, right? They've noticed in the past that the teams that make it to the Super Bowl, their jersey number colors match up with whatever the logo is for the Super Bowl. It's a thing a couple weeks
I'll
ago.
go along with it. I'll always walk with Elias. Jesus has texted in. He wants to know, did you see how tuned up Jason Kelsey was at the game last night?
Oh, yeah.
We don't talk about the Kelseys on this program.
I like Jason, though.
I would rather see more Jason Kelsey than more Taylor Swift.
You know what? They almost showed more of him than Taylor, which was cool. And I guess apparently Jason's daughter had said, "Hey, look, Dad's boobs are on TV." Shirtless for most, if not all, of the game.
I think most neutral fans are rooting for Detroit, wouldn't you say?
I would think
seems
so,
that way.
yeah.
Based on text messages, it seems that way.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? A player for the Kansas City Chiefs by the name of Donovan Smith said that the Buffalo Bills, just to be dicks after losing last night's game, shut off the hot water in the Chiefs' locker room. That's kind of a funny trick if they really did that.
Yeah, I wonder if that was true or not.
And also, that stadium's so old, it just might not have worked.
Right.
I like that. That's the kind of cute stuff I can go along with. Go ahead, shut the hot water off so these guys have to take cold showers after the friggin' game.
Did you see the Bills fans throwing snowballs?
There's a lot of snowballs, that's for sure.
I definitely wanted to throw something, too.
You know, at this point, okay, the snowballs thing, that's going to happen in any town that has an outdoor ballpark and they get a little bit of snow. That's fun. I like the idea of throwing snowballs at players. I do. I'm backing that all the way. But at this point, the Bills Mafia thing is just kind of tired and sad, in my opinion. They smash each other through tables. Now they have to catch on fire in order to be entertaining. It happened again yesterday. A dude temporarily caught fire, and they lit the table on fire. Then he jumped through the table. And we get it. You're crazy. Can we move on now? Is anyone else burned out on this crap?
Not at all.
I don't pay attention to it very much.
They're just trying too hard. Now, a note on this year's NFC Championship game coming up on Sunday. Brock Purdy, the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Jared Goff is the quarterback for Detroit. And if you think this is cute or not, I don't know, but the game will pit a former number 1 overall pick, being Jared Goff, against a former, as they call it, Mr. Irrelevant in Brock Purdy. And it would have been the same thing if Mayfield had won yesterday. A number 1 overall pick against a last overall pick. How far do you want to go with that? Is that interesting to anybody?
I think it's interesting.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Unique stat for sure.
I've never really been convinced, I guess, of Brock Purdy. I guess if he wins a Super Bowl, I'll have to change my tune a little bit. But even Saturday night, I mean, other than that last drive, he wasn't overly impressive to me.
You know what's funny is I've watched the kid play a few times too, Brad Ryder, and he's had so much success, but still at times he looks as if he's saying to himself, what the hell am I doing out here? How the hell did I get here? What do I do?
He's got the best weapons in the league to work with, so there's that.
Do you think if you put him on, like, say, a lesser team, he's just kind of a bumbling...
that's my thought, but
okay,
there's some people who will swing from his jock. You know, I get it a little bit, but I'm not one of them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins the Super Bowl, hell, you know,
sure,
we'll give him all the credit in the world, but I'm just saying, sometimes when I see him out there, he looks as if he has absolutely no idea what he's doing.
Where Detroit has a chance this weekend is if they can force him into a few turnovers, which Green Bay kind of did, you know, last weekend, and
Purdy does look like that backup quarterback where the star quarterback goes down and he gets put in the game. He's kind of like, oh man, what did I get myself into here?
Right, yeah.
Oh, man. Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in, I forgot what draft, a couple years ago. He was the very last swinging D. Snatched up. All right, so the Baltimore Ravens, they look pretty good. I thought this was really funny. Ravens fans are using dirty tactics to prevent their defensive coordinator from leaving the team. The dude's name is Mike McDonald. Michael McDonald.
Oh, he can crank out a hitter.
Yeah.
Mike McDonald's done a nice job there in Baltimore, and the fans dig his vibe. He's been interviewed by a few clubs who need head coaches. So Ravens fans have decided to make him unhireable. I'm sorry?
You go ahead.
They've been trying to make him unhireable by spreading fake rumors to make him out to be a jackass.
If you're an NFL team and you hire this man as your head coach after everything that he's been accused of, shame on you. Shooting somebody in the eye with a bow and arrow, kicking puppies for fun, giving out baby carrots on Halloween. And that's not even the worst of it. I've even heard he's... Yeah, this is disgraceful behavior. Who even cares if it's true or not? Who even cares if it's a desperate ploy by Ravens fans to keep their highly successful defensive coordinator in town? Do the right thing, NFL teams. Don't hire this man.
That's funny.
Who is that guy? Just some guy?
It's the guy from the article. I don't know if he was the writer or who he is.
Oh, yeah. Fans have been getting on Twitter and saying some of what you just heard that young man say. They've been tweeting out that Mike McDonald hands out vegetables on Halloween. He leaves shopping carts wherever he feels like it in grocery store parking lots. They say he hates puppies. This tweet says, I heard Mike McDonald likes kicking puppies and taking candy from children. He is truly toxic. Do not interview him. And apparently McDonald has seen the tweets and he's getting a kick out of the bit. That's funny. That's effing good stuff.
We threatened our boss with that. Either we would murder him or make him unhireable somewhere else. Just some terrible, terrible rumors about it.
If he leaves us?
Yes.
Yeah, we've told him if he leaves us, because he's the only boss we've ever liked. If he leaves us, we are going to make his life a living hell.
We'll find you.
We'll start rumors about him. So is this for real for the past week? It's been reported that Bill Belichick is going to up and coach the Atlanta Falcons next time around?
That's the rumor.
Yeah. Well, that's a rumor, but they keep interviewing people. I mean, they interviewed 2 or 3 other people over the weekend, and I think they're going to try to interview him a second time. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why you need to interview him a second time. I mean, what are you going to find out the second time that you didn't know for the last 30 years, you know?
What did you need to ask him the first time?
Right,
Wasn't Belichick on like a yacht the first time they interviewed him and he did a Zoom call? I was reading something like that.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Well, if you're the type that gives a rip where this prick ends up coaching football again, I'll tell you this right here. He's apparently not interested in dealing with the media in big markets anymore. The Cowboys and Eagles were interested in Belichick, and he didn't care because he doesn't want to deal with big markets like the one he had to deal with in Boston.
Well, Atlanta isn't a small market either.
I don't know. I don't follow such things. the media there, are they anything like New York, Boston,
Probably not.
Philadelphia?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay. So there you go. If, in fact, you care at all what happens with this ass, Bill Belichick. Here's a question for you, Brad Ryder. From
I was going to say, it sounds like he's pining for the Bills job then. If he doesn't want to deal with media in a big market.
Yeah,
all right,
that's about as small as it gets.
Yeah, anyway.
A question for you, Brad Ryder, from It's Not 12 Inches, but It Smells Like a Foot Jesus. We were talking about this Brock Purdy kid, how he's had great success, but a lot of us watch him play, and he still appears to not really know what the hell's going on at times. So the question is, if you were the Niners going into Sunday's title game, would you rather have Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins?
Ooh. Well...
a healthy Kirk Cousins,
I would rather have a healthy Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
No, did you say you're sorry?
Well, no, I'm
no
apologizing to half of the people in this market because half the people in this market hate him.
Yeah. I think most folks would take any veteran quarterback, with even a little bit of success, which I think is fair to define Kirk Cousins. He's had a little bit of success. Team-wise, what I mean. Sure,
I think if they make it to the Super Bowl, what I'm about to say will not be true, but if they don't, keep an eye on that this offseason. They may go after him as well.
What's happening here? People, they're texting in about Belichick. Belichick was interviewed by Atlanta twice already. Some are saying it's not an interview, it's a negotiation. Who cares? If you liked this Antonio Pierce, who was the interim coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, if you liked what he did, well, it looks like they're going to hire him full-time now. Antonio Pierce. The players kind of came forward at the end of the year and said, we want this guy to be a full-time damn coach, and so they went ahead and pulled the trigger on that. Antonio Pierce. What the hell is this? Brad Ryder, you know something about collegiate and high school sports, right?
Sure, yeah.
Is this for real? A tight end for the Miami Hurricanes football program. He goes by the name of Cam McCormick. He went ahead and announced a couple days ago that he will return to their program next season for his 9th year of college football.
What?
I love this story.
This will be his 9th year of college football.
I did not see this story. I'm going to try to look it up.
He's 26 years old.
Okay, so...
Or he will be soon.
Without seeing the story, there's a COVID year that everybody got if they wanted it. So and then did he get hurt a couple of times, maybe? And maybe he was a red shirt one year. Maybe
medical red shirt, yep.
Red shirt, COVID, and then maybe hurt twice.
Yeah, I don't have the details in front of me.
That could be it.
But that probably is right. He started his college career with the Oregon Ducks. He transferred to the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, you get the transfer year, too.
Sure, all that stuff.
Yeah.
He will be 26 by the time this next football season is over.
Wow.
Almost
9 years.
Almost old enough to play for Mankato hockey.
Right.
He's getting there.
He'd be a sophomore at Mankato.
Now, it says here, should Miami make some kind of magical run next football season, he could be a college football player that has played across an entire decade. That's absolutely insane.
What classes is this guy taking at this point?
Well, yeah, how many degrees does he have?
Yeah, he better have a doctorate at this point.
There's a Tanner Morgan joke somewhere there, but...
Well, Morgan played, 5?
I think it was 6.
Now, look at it this way. When this sumbitch... How do I say this? Some players in the NFL today were from his high school class. Obviously, he's been playing high school college football for so long. Jalen Hurts, Nick Bosa, Justin Herbert were guys in his high school graduating class.
I feel like they've been in the league for a while now.
Yeah. So I just looked this up. So he redshirted the first year. I'm reading this as I'm reading the story. Redshirted the first year, played the full next season, then got hurt, then got hurt again, then got hurt again, and then had a COVID year. So
that's great. This is funny. I wish Randy Shaver would have been here for this. I should read this as the listener wants it to be. stated, "Oh, wrong hole, Jesus." Brock Purdy went to Iowa State. Does anyone that comes out of that college know what they're doing? No. Probably not. Oh, what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, that I don't really, it's college. I like college football. I follow the Golden Gophers, but I don't really give a rat's ass what goes on otherwise. And I don't know. I don't know enough about this NIL thing to take a stand on that. I don't understand it enough to take a stand on whether these kids should or should not be making money or how much they should. But it is silly to think that a guy's 26 friggin' years old and he's still playing college football.
It's a little over the top.
It's the same as, the ongoing joke, although there was a little truth to the joke, when we make fun of Mankato State hockey from a few years ago. They had all these. They're not the only school. We just decided to pick on Mankato State to piss some people off, and it's worked, and it's been a lot of fun. I also think it's silly that a kid goes and plays 2-3 effing years of junior hockey, and then he's a freshman college hockey player at 23 years old. It's stupid. Right. It shouldn't be allowed.
Right.
You should be a kid, not a full-blown. Got wives and kids in the stand. But what can I do? Speaking of hockey, we got a lot of hockey here today to cover. A lot of hockey. Pigs won a couple of road games in a row over the weekend. Hell, Friday night they scored 5 power play goals to beat Florida. Last night, the Russian kid got sort of a hat trick. They beat Carolina 5-2. One of his hat trick goals was an empty netter, which of course shouldn't count. And just to be extra disrespectful to the hockey gods, the Wild scored a second empty net goal last night. Why don't you stop by and urinate on Gordie Howe's grave while you're at it? They'll do anything to win these days. They'll score 2 empty net goals, but they beat Carolina. Close game. Eriksson Ek got the game winner. Old Phil was busy, stopped 40 shots. They got a home game against Washington tomorrow night, so they got a couple of wins in a row.
Trying to crawl back into this thing, tease us a little bit. I think they're still, 5-6 points out of a playoff spot?
Yeah.
Something like that.
They can see it. They can see a light.
Yeah.
Just a dim light at the end of the Edmonton Oilers beat Calgary on Saturday night. Saturday night is how you say it. They beat Calgary for their 13th straight win. That's now the longest winning streak by a Canadian team in NHL history. But there's an asterisk next to this, too. Just like when you win a game with an empty net goal. There's an asterisk next to this, too. The 1967-68 Montreal Canadiens won 12 games in a row. That was the old Canadian record. But now the Edmonton Oilers have won 13 straight. The reason there's an asterisk there, a couple of those wins were silly shootout wins. That would have never happened back in the day. They just would have been ties. If that matters to you at all. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this, but I think that it should be mentioned. Pittsburgh has the overall NHL record with 17 wins in a row in 92-93. The Oilers are now 23-6-0 since head coach Chris, don't call me Chuck Knobloch, took over as head coach. The Oilers might finally be playing up to the level that folks have expected them to play for quite a few years. Anyone see the highlight of this? Some hockey fans are saying that a kid on the Philadelphia Flyers roster by the name of Owen Tippett scored the goal of the year. I believe this was Friday night against Dallas.
Picking it up is Owen Tippett, turbocharge time. Tippett spins, backhander, he scores! Somehow, he just one-upped himself from the other night. Owen Tippett absolutely dazzling, and it's 5-1 Philadelphia.
It's up on 93x.com.
I think that was actually Thursday.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that was a sweet goal, though.
If you're an older person, you know that all he did there was the old Dennis Savard spinorama.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Savard was the first player I remember scoring that type of a goal. And then he'd go to the bench and smoke cigarettes. That was the cool thing about Dennis Savard.
I remember Pierre-Marc Bouchard would always do that, too.
Dude, PMB?
Mm-hmm.
He had some hands, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. For a little guy, too.
If he would have been taller than 5'1", he might have done some real damage.
Yeah.
Do people still, do guys still do that lacrosse deal where they put the puck on the stick behind the net and stuff it in?
Yes, they call it the Michigan, and I'm so burned out on that silly ass crap. I hate it when they put that up on website. Look at this goal. I hate that move. It should be illegal.
I was live and in person when that happened. Nick.
Oh yeah, you were working for
I
the
was.
Gold. Yeah.
I was in East Lansing, Michigan when that happened.
What year was that?
96.
Oh, 96.
I want to say 96.
Yeah, because I can still picture Steve DeBus looking over both shoulders, trying to figure out what happened.
Steve DeBus. Oh yeah, I remember that like it was effing yesterday. I was watching that game at for you West Metro people. I was watching that game at Flat Pie Red Eye. What the hell did they end up naming that joint? Larry's Lounge.
Yeah, it was 96 because
March 24th.
I hate that friggin' Michigan goal. It's stupid and it never should have been allowed. It's high sticking.
Says the stick that scored the goal is donated to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
I want to break it in half. But I'll say this much: the NHL just got a little more fun. It just got a little more fun. The New York Islanders fired their head coach a couple days ago. I feel bad for the guy named Lane Lambert. Lost his job, but they hired Patrick Waugh as their new head coach. And the reason that makes the NHL a little more fun is because Patrick Waugh is friggin' insane. He is insane. There was a rumor going around, when Waugh was coaching the Colorado Avalanche, if you remember a few years back, that Patrick tuned up the owner of an NHL club. The Avalanche played a game. I don't know who their opposition was, but there was some kind of dust up in the hallway after the game. The owner of the Avs opponent that night got up into Patrick's space, and Waugh beat the dude up. That's absolutely awesome.
I love that.
I love when one of the first games he was coaching, the NHL, the teams are on the exact same side. He was going after the other coach, and he knocked the middle glass over.
Oh, yeah.
On top of him. It was so funny.
Remember that video, Josh, from years ago where the Buffalo Sabres and Ottawa Senators had that hellacious fight, and the two coaches, one of them was Lindy Ruff, I remember, from Buffalo. They're screaming at each other from across the bench, and the on ice guy with a mic, I think it was Rob Ray, he had to cover up the mic because they were F-bombing. You effing son of a... I love that stuff. Patrick Waugh is nuts.
Patrick Waugh and Zach Parisi's new coach.
Well,
I wonder.
Zach hasn't signed up to play for the Islanders yet, has he?
I thought he was still on the team.
Well, he's a free agent. Last I read. He can go wherever he wants, I believe. But
I was wondering if Zach was going to say anything or express interest in that.
Okay, remember Zombie Jesus? He wants me to wish an injury upon him because it works. He wants some time away from work, so he wants me to wish an injury upon him. I asked him what he's looking for specifically. You guys tell me what this means, and I hope I'm not going to get in trouble. He says he wants me to wish him death by snoo. What the hell is that?
Snoo?
Oh, is that old joke?
Yeah, whatever.
Is that from Futurama?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Futurama reference.
Yeah, when they're they have the Amazonian women and they snoo is like
sit on his head?
Sexual for sure.
Okay.
Not sure what it entails.
We might as well let's just leave it alone before something bad happens, I guess. All right, you guys will probably love this. Do you guys know who Ben Affleck is?
Yes.
All right, for those of you who don't, I think you're going to become big fans is how you say it, of Ben Affleck. He's an actual duck that leads celebrations for the Anaheim Ducks Hockey Club on social media.
I believe he's on our website. I think we posted that last week.
Yeah, that was last week, so I'll have to push it to the front.
This was last week?
Yes.
I missed this from last week?
Oh. It happened.
Oh, okay. When the Ducks win, I don't know how often that is, if you flip on their social media page, Twitter, I would guess, there you can see Ben Affleck. He taps his cute little webbed feet on a drum in a room filled with Ducks memorabilia, and the fans have fallen in love with this Ben Affleck the Duck.
It looks like this duck is from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's what they say here.
I just looked him up.
Yeah, they say he's a Minnesota Duck. We don't have audio of him because it's cute as hell. Even the audio of him drumming on the drum with his little duck feet.
I can get it. Yeah, you can't tell it's a duck, obviously.
That sounds like a duck to me.
It's certainly avian.
This Duck has 99,000 followers on Instagram too.
Oh, do you have? Are you on Instagram? Does he have more than you, Brad?
No, I'm not on Instagram. I'm just looking up his Instagram account.
So yeah, check that out. If you're an NHL fan, next time you see that the Ducks have won a hockey game, go on there. I don't know, wherever you find him on social media, and see if you catch Ben Afquack. He is very cute.
He said he's a Minnesota Wild fan.
Yeah,
he did mention that.
Does he live here with his owner?
I believe so, yeah, because he's also done partnerships with the St. Paul Saints and the Minnesota Aurora FC, the women's soccer team.
Right. It sounds like he has an owner named Derek Johnson, and he was blown away when the Ducks called him and said, can we use Ben Afquack for some online gimmicks? And
the Duck went to Eastview.
Pride of Eastview High School.
Everyone's talking about him. One of the goals, I guess, with the Ducks organization in taking Ben Afquack to, as Papa Roach said all those years ago, Josh, a higher level.
They did say that, didn't they?
They did. One of the goals to bring Ben Afquack to an even higher level is to bring him here to Minnesota when the Ducks play the Pigs in St. Paul. I don't know when that is. Or for Ben Afquack to show up at a few Anaheim home games. And that would be fun, to let kids maybe stroll by. And
looks like there's also a YouTube video up. He was at the Science Museum at one point.
Did you see the one where he kicked a soccer ball?
Yeah, I'm looking at that one, too.
He did what?
He kicked a soccer ball.
Dude.
There's nothing this Duck can't do.
The Ducks play the Wild this Saturday.
What? Well, maybe he'll come to town.
At home.
Here's a text that says, hey, Nick, can you wish... Oh, okay, people are still asking me to wish certain things because I can make it come true. Okay, I wish Zombie Jesus, I wish you an injury. And fine, it can be a snoo injury, whatever that means, so you can miss some work. Here's a listener that says, hey, Nick, can you wish that the remake of Radar Love by White Lion never happened? You son of a bitch. He got us again.
He always is coming after that, too.
The NHL All-Star thing is coming up in a couple of weeks, February 3rd. Here's the deal. Folks named Justin Bieber, Will Arnett, Michael Bublé.
Cardib.
I'm sorry?
Cardib.
Yes.
That'll still be the best one ever.
Yeah, that was great.
And another person named Taint McRae will be...
Tate
McRae will be the celebrity team captains for the All-Star game. Celebrity team captains. Did you follow all that?
Yes.
I won't forget the Michael Bubble all day.
Michael Bubble and Taint McRae. I don't follow this, but there are 4 different teams of All-Star players, and those are the 4 different celebrity coaches.
Well, I'm cheering for Will Arnett's team. I'm a Will Arnett fan.
Why? How do I know that name?
Well, I don't know if you've watched any of his shows. Oh, yeah. Was it Let's Go to Prison?
Yes.
Yeah, he was in. You like that movie, right?
I know who you are referring. Yes, he's very funny in that Let's Go to Prison movie.
And I knew he was funny in movies, obviously TV, the stuff he does, but until listening to his podcast, Smartless, with Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman, I didn't realize how quick he was. That's all him. That dude is absolutely hilarious.
It says here, it sounds like you're familiar with Justin Bieber, Will Arnett, and Michael Bublé.
Bublé.
In case you don't know, Taint McRae is supposedly a singer. Golden Gopher hockey swept Ohio State over the weekend. The Timberwolves, who disappointed me greatly Saturday night at home, the way they lost to Oklahoma City was very disappointing. They got a home game tonight versus Charlotte. The Hornets
should be a win.
Yeah, what do you say? How do you say them? The Hornets, they only have 9 wins on the season. The way they lost that game Saturday night proved that they still have a long ways to go. Well, I should say it showed that they have a long ways to go in proving they can win big games.
I'm going to give them a little bit of a... I know this is going to be a shock to people that think that I hate them, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass on games like that because they're 17-3 at home. Mm-hmm. They're going to lose once in a while, but the top of the West, like we've talked about, is really stacked. I mean, there's 4 teams within 2 games of that top spot. So a game like tonight, you've got to come out and win, obviously, and take care of business. But when you're playing one of the top teams in the West, if you lose to them, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But it's the way that they lost,
Yeah,
Brad.
I understand.
Right? They had 3 baskets made in the fourth quarter. 3!
Yeah.
In today's NBA, 3 baskets can happen in 30 seconds.
Yeah, Oklahoma City's a really good team.
They are. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They got a great club. But they just shut down in the fourth quarter. That would have been a big statement. And then I know, okay, Edwards could have made 3 free throws to tie the game and send it to overtime. He misses them.
He missed the last one on purpose.
Well, I know he did, but it's just 3 baskets in 12 minutes of regulation play. That sucks. Okay. I'll try to get over it. How much time do we have here? Oh, everyone wet their pants yesterday. Caitlin Clark, the big star Iowegian basketball player. So the Iowegian ladies lost to Ohio State. It was a big upset yesterday, playing in Ohio, and the crowd rushed the court, and some goofy fan just knocked that Caitlin Clark gal into next week.
That ain't
This is up on 93x.com. And the worst part about this is when she knocks her over, she just kind of looks back and then keeps going.
She was
She
absolutely
keeps celebrating.
She was blasted, I think. I wonder if she even knew what was going on.
I saw the headline and thought that it was maybe purposely done, but it wasn't. It was a complete accident.
Oh, it was not on purpose.
No,
by
that
any-
was an accident.
But the gal, I mean, what's her name? Clark is fine, but it's just it's kind of a funny yet frightening video. Just boom, this gal just runs right through her and crumples down onto the
It
court.
almost looked like Caitlin Clark even embellished it a little bit. Like she kind of
Took a dive.
Yeah.
Iowegians. They're always embellishing things. A couple guys who I assume are YouTube channel prank dorks of some kind interrupted a Texas State college basketball game. One of them pushed the other out onto the basketball court in a wheelchair.
And a fan just wheeled his way onto the court. Escorted off quickly. Then wearing a very inappropriate shirt, by the way. This is almost certainly a staged event.
Also on 93x.com.
What did the shirt say?
You might have heard the guy say he's wearing an inappropriate. The shirt said, "I love MILFs."
Oh.
But here's the thing. I want to be clear about this. It wasn't one guy pushing another guy in a wheelchair. The dude just kind of pushed him out there and let him roll helplessly. And this was all an act. It looked like a setup bit to me. And the guy in the wheelchair is like doing a "where am I? How did this happen?" kind of a look on his face. What do you think, Josh? It looked
it looked like he was kind of smirking a little bit, like he knew what was going on.
Yeah, like a setup so they could get on the internet to.
And he also didn't appear to make any attempt to stop himself. Now, I'm very lucky. I'm confined to a wheelchair, but I do have an uncle in one, and he's adept at that.
Right.
So normally they escort that person out of the arena. Did they do that to the wheelchair guy too?
I think they got thrown out. I don't know. I don't know if they got thrown out.
His buddy kind of went on the court, pushed him off the court, and I think they kept walking.
And here's a college basketball club that still know how to have some real fun. This is a few days ago. I wish I would have gotten to this, but things happen. A few nights ago, the University of Connecticut, last year's champion, don't you know? I think they're still number 1 in the country right now. They had a home game the other night. They went ahead and made it $2 beer night at the arena.
It's never a good idea.
And from what I understand, the students cleaned out all the beer in the arena before the game even started. Now, maybe they kept a limited amount of beer just to make sure no one was vomiting oceans of puke. I don't know. Maybe they limited, but it says they cleaned them out. Empty beer cans were all over the place. I don't know if you saw video of this. There were a lot of empties.
Yeah, they were kind of bummed by that. Like, you guys could have just got rid of these things, but no, everybody just dropped them.
Throw them in the garbage, you classless sumbitch. But here's the fun part. No one cared. They had a good time. Good for them. You know what I mean? Usually you'd see some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Backlash. Oh, that's so terrible and irresponsible, and what about the children and all that stuff. It just sounds like everybody had a good time. It's okay. The students got good and drunk, and we can move on with our lives without some kind of protest at the ballpark. You know what I mean? So there you go. All right, Brad, I thought you did all right, bye, Dan.
Well, thank you.
I thought you did all right.
Try to stay in tune with what's going on.
We know you do.
You always do.
We never worry about you, Brad. We don't.
You do your research.
You do.
Ashley, I just missed you at the boat show on Saturday, apparently.
Oh, darn.
I was there a little bit after you were.
Did you get me a boat?
We cannot mention where we both were, or else we will get in trouble, apparently. So.
Oh, should you not be shopping for new boats?
Well, no. It's just that I mentioned this company way too often, so I can't.
Oh
mention
no,
it.
you don't. Yeah.
Actually, I do have to give a shout out to him because he.
To whom now?
I can't. Brad, I know you. I imagine you know his first name.
I think he does. Go ahead,
Yes,
Brad.
I do, Brett. Well, actually, not. Yeah, Brett's the owner.
Of what now?
Of Nickum Dock.
There it is.
Yep. So I was up and I was emceeing a Bago tournament where they could win a watercraft, a Sea-Doo. And as I was up there, kind of doing some color commentating, the guy, you said his name is Brett?
The owner's Brett. Matt is the guy you and I both know.
Oh, Matt.
Yeah.
Yep. So he comes up. He's like, "Hey, Ashley." He tosses a T-shirt at me, and he's like, "Read that after you're done. You're gonna love it." I was like, "Okay." So I put it down and finished my job duties there, and I read the T-shirt, and it was from Nickum Docks.
Yep.
It's like, no way, this guy. And
Brad's buddies.
It was crazy because our setup was right next door to them. I was like, all right, somebody did this on purpose.
So, Brad, you were just there to hang out with your bros. You're not buying a boat or anything.
No, I'm good in that department, but I went over there to talk to them about how I wanted my setup this spring and when they were going to come out and do stuff.
Yeah, they're so sick of you bothering them.
I can just picture him sitting like, oh, God, here comes Brad.
Oh, it's so funny.
I got some swag, though, just like Ashley did.
You know those guys are saying, it's friggin' January. Stop bothering us about when we're going to put your friggin' dock in. It's January.
Yeah, this could have been an email, Brad.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, hey, what the hell? We'll talk to you on Wednesday, Brad
Okay,
Ryder. Thank you
sounds
very
good.
much.
Yep.
We'll take a break. We'll be back here in a few minutes.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
What companies deserve your hard-earned dollar? Which would you want to work for? How can you know if they share your values? Just ask us. Just Capital is a nonprofit that tracks who really means business in supporting workers, customers, communities, the environment, and shareholders. We measure progress, track success, and help them be better. When you see the Just Capital seal, you know what's real, because just business is better business. Visit justcapital.com to learn who makes your dollar count.
Half-assed morning show 93X.
I hear you. Welcome back to the program, the 93X Half-assed morning show. You're a great crowd. It's Monday morning. It's 8:32. Time to get going. Earlier we got to talking very briefly, back and forth about taking foreign language classes in school. I like this one Spanish teacher I had. It's one of the only classes I ever really tried because I just like this damn teacher so much. Not everybody likes their teachers too much. Listen to this text message from Love That Danhausen Sheeses. She says, I took 4 years of French in high school. The French teacher and I had it out for each other. We just didn't get along. On my 18th birthday, we had a fist fight in the school parking lot.
Whoa, dude.
I smacked my head pretty good. The joke's on that bitch, says Love That Danhausen Sheeses. Not only did she get her ass kicked in front of dozens of students, she lost her job, and she spent 4 years teaching me French for nothing. I can't remember a single thing. Wow. That must have been incredible. A fist fight with one of your teachers in the school parking lot?
That's exciting.
All the students gathered around? What a life. One of my buddies came close to going.
And I know that the custodian they mentioned was kind of a cantankerous old fella.
Cantankerous.
So he didn't mess around.
My buddy and this custodian, they got nose to nose. They got into a fighting stance, but they never threw a punch. I was very disappointed in both of them. All right. What an incredible story there. Love that Danhausen Jesus. All right, let's talk about regrets. Everybody has them, unless you're some sick, narcissistic maniac. There are plenty of regular people who say they have no regrets. They're lying. I was reading something yesterday. People over 40 revealing the one thing they regret from their younger years. For you, those of you in our listening audience over 40, feel free to text us. 651-989-9393. If you're over 40, whatever, we'll take all ages. But specifically, if you've lived a little bit, if you're over 40, you might have a real good one. So that's kind of what we're looking for. 651-989-9393.
I have one that crosses my mind right away. And I'm sure a lot of girls that, actually grew up with their mom in the same household probably feel the same way. I regret the way I treated my mom when I was in high school or like middle school over something as stupid as her taking my cell phone. It's just, it's disgusting looking back.
You should have had more respect for your folks.
Absolutely.
My wife feels the same. Her mom is one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and my wife said she wasn't very good to her growing up.
Yeah, my mom's an angel, and she did not deserve the crap I gave her.
So here's the deal. One thing they regret from their younger years. Like I said, specifically, we're talking people over 40, but, whatever. Some of these answers are fun and could prompt further conversation. Some are kind of boring. Not appreciating people who love you. See what I mean?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but it's kind of boring. Caring too much about what others thought of me.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more you don't. Usually.
You don't care.
Usually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Usually.
There's some folks, on social media, you'll find out that care very much.
Oh, yeah.
What people think about.
Oh, yeah. For some of us, that goes on until the day that they die.
Yeah, like to show off a little bit.
So, when they were younger, they cared a little too much about what others thought of them. Sure. Everyone's been there at least briefly. Not investing.
That would be mine.
Yeah, I'm with that one for sure.
See, now, explain this to me. What exactly do you regret?
Like opening up an IRS account or
IRA.
IRA. Opening up an IRA.
Kind of one and the same, Wapple.
Yeah.
Wapple.
One and the same.
Totally.
I don't speak that language either.
But yeah, it's like I remember taking a money management class and just being blown away with how much money you could accumulate if you started putting $20 in when you were like 16. It was like you were going to have like $3 million more than when you would start investing when you were 30.
I do remember
whoa.
In middle school when they started teaching us that kind of stuff, them telling us all those things, compounding interest and different, and I just didn't care whatsoever. I thought I got the rest of my life to worry about that.
Exactly.
How are you doing now, Josh and Wapple, on the investing angle?
Oh, absolutely terrible.
Say that
I work
again.
Here.
Josh, you're very detailed when it comes to your money.
I became that way. Yeah, it wasn't natural, but yeah, I became that way.
So you have 401ks?
I have a 401k. I have that, an IRA.
You got the
IRA.
Yeah.
So you know what you're doing now.
I can't say I know what I'm doing, but I'm doing what I read to do.
You're the only reason that I started all of that stuff. Like when I started making salary here, you told me, hey, get those started because I regret not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
You're fine.
Like I started that at 21.
And good for you. How old are you now? 26?
26.
You're doing great because I have no idea how to operate any of these things that you mentioned. Not a single clue, but you know who does. My friggin' wife knows everything. So she has absolutely changed my life in that aspect. She has that stuff cooking. Money in this thing over here. I'm telling you, I don't understand a word of it. I'm not exaggerating. But she's put money in this thing over here, and that earns a few more. So, Ashley, at 26, Wappa, what, 31, 32? You're doing, it wasn't until I got together with this friggin' lady that I finally feel like I know what's happening. I know what's being done with my money and how to make it work for me. I can't explain it to you. That's her responsibility and her skill set. But if just for you younger people, if you haven't done it yet, if you haven't gotten on it yet, don't panic. But the sooner the better. I waited till I was 50 years old.
Even if, I wish, they tell you this. I was told all this stuff and I didn't pay attention. Even if it's just a couple of bucks, whatever you can put in there. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're able to. I wish I would have started a lot younger than I did.
Boy, I told myself damn near every day, it's time to get around, and I would just let it go. If, I'd be screwed.
I've learned anything that just seems insurmountable. Let's say you want to get jacked or you want to learn an instrument or something like that, and you think, it's going to take forever. Well, forever does show up, and you think, gosh, why didn't I just start it back then?
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a virtuoso right now that's totally swole if I would have started back then.
People over 40 talking about the one regret from their younger years. Well, I don't know. Not taking better care of my teeth.
You always hear old-timers say that. I hear that. I've heard that a lot.
I finally
Take care of your teeth.
Something else, I guess I got to thank the friggin' wife. She got on my case and said it's time, and I'm up to schneid now, and it does. It feels good to not worry. I thought for sure, oh God, if and when I ever go to the dentist, they're going to send me right to the emergency room, But it's worked out. I don't know, things like stretching and maintaining your body a little bit better. Oh, disrespecting my parents when I was a teenager.
There you go.
It says here, they really did know what they were talking about. I was just too much of a moron to realize it. Oh, God. Truth? Every one of us could speak on that. Mm-hmm. Not that I wasn't that much of a combative kid, in that department, but there certainly were plenty of things that my folks said to me, and I thought, well, what the F do you know? You're all old over there, what do you know? They knew.
I never disrespected my parents, but I definitely didn't appreciate them. Or, like you said, you think your parents are dumb. They don't get it.
Right.
You forget they were kids. It was, or, yeah, they were, but it was so different back then. They don't understand. And they did understand.
They did. I still remember the single dumbest thing I ever said to my mother. And this was when I was an 8th grade kid, and I was failing every one of my classes, every single one. And I didn't care. And my folks rarely paid much attention to our scholastic careers. Mm-hmm. They were cool like that. They were partying and having a good time. They didn't give a rat's ass. But my mother found out that I was getting straight Fs, and she said to me something like, where do you expect to be? What do you expect to do when you get out of high school? If this is the way you're going to keep going, who do you expect to hire you? Look at you. Get straight Fs. And I said this to her face. I said, when I get out of high school, I said, Mom, do you realize that's like 4 years away? How friggin' stupid and naive. And then, of course, as you might imagine, just like that, I'm out of high school, and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to... I acted like 4 years was 1,000 millennials.
Yeah. Well, when you're that age, it kind of is.
It feels like it is, yeah.
Exactly. It certainly feels
It's a big chunk of your life.
How about this regret from an older person? I didn't wear enough sunscreen. I used to do the whole layout with baby oil so I could get a savage tan. Oof. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by this, but they say, now my face looks like a topographic map of California. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
The raised maps, like 3D map.
Ah. Smoking. When are you going to get around to quitting that cigarette smoking, Wapple?
boy, does everyone get on my ass for that.
Oh, do you get that a lot?
Really?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never heard anybody say anything to you.
Yep. When are you gonna stop that? It's been enough years, don't you think?
I give him
yourself.
I give him daily
you don't wanna
lectures.
Live long.
Is your
It's
girlfriend?
like, no, actually, I don't.
Is your girlfriend one of those people?
How often does your girlfriend bring it up? Does she talk about it?
No, she just more or less says I should slow down. It's my parents and my sisters that say I need to stop completely.
You still off the weed, Ashley?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I even downloaded like one of those cool little trackers as motivation where it says how many days you've been sober or whatever. I believe it's 26, 27 now.
Well, you haven't been sober that many days, but you've been off weed, right?
Yes. Let's be clear.
Here's the deal. Older folks commenting on the one thing they regret from their younger years. We got a little bit more to cover before we leave.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Absolutely hammered.
On 93X.
Oh, yeah. Older folks in our listening audience, if you can hear us. Folks over 40. We were talking about you a few minutes ago. Oh, I was reading something. Folks over 40 talking about the one thing they regret from their younger years. We've been going back and forth on that. And yeah, Ashley's not 40 yet, not even close, but she probably does regret not going to the gas station this weekend. Earlier this morning, we got a phone call, I don't know, half hour before we went live, and Ashley's on the side of the road because she forgot to put gas in her motor vehicle.
You were kind of in a dicey spot, too.
Yeah, that was not ideal. Yeah, the guy that came and helped me, the highway helper, Michael there, yeah, he told me, he's like, you're very lucky that a trooper hasn't rolled up. He said this is considered a highway, so they would give you a $140 ticket.
Yeah, they don't like it when you just simply have an unpreventable occurrence like that.
Can we get it together, Ashley, at one point or another or not?
Yeah.
Do we give up? We shouldn't give up?
No,
Okay.
no.
I think there's hope.
All right, listeners have been texting in their regrets. What else could I cover from this article here before we get to the listeners? This one I thought was interesting. Not asking older family members more questions about their lives while they were still alive.
Sure.
My sister knows every damn thing about our family, who's who came from where, what they do, when they died, how they... I wish I was more dialed into stuff like that because some of it can be really friggin' interesting, and it's just kind of cool to know, you know, who your family is and where the hell you came from. Did you say something earlier, Josh, about learning a musical instrument?
Yeah, that was one that, I mean, I wish I would have learned a couple different ones, but like I said, where it seems insurmountable, but time does pass. You know, we were talking about earlier when you were a young guy, you said 4 years, that's so long ago.
Right.
And it did, or long away, that did seem like that when you were young, but when you rolled 4 years is a blink of an eye.
Yes, it is. Wappo, what was the musical instrument you were thinking of trying out here a week or two ago? You brought it up on this here radio
mouth
show.
harp.
Yeah,
mouth
the
harp.
Oh, yeah, did you order one?
Yeah, I got it at my house.
Why don't you bring it in?
Yeah, play us a little ditty tomorrow.
I can bring it in.
Bring it in.
I'm not very good.
Learn
but
something.
I've been practicing.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Learn something romantic before Valentine's Day.
There you go.
You can serenade us in a couple of weeks.
Nothing gets a chick's going quite like a mouth harp.
Yeah.
You know, there was one in this article that a lot of people are texting into. They wish they would have traveled more. I don't feel that right now, but I do wonder on my deathbed. Because right now, I'd be fine never traveling ever again.
Yeah.
But on my deathbed, I do wonder if I'd regret that.
I never saw Idaho.
Yeah, I bet I'll be in that boat.
I absolutely can guarantee you right now I will not. I will not regret my lack of travels. I couldn't possibly care less what's going on anywhere else. But a few people have texted in about musical instruments, learning how to play this or that. One from this article, an older person wishes they would have learned a musical instrument. They say, I'm trying now, but it's harder at an older age. Maybe they mean because of a lack of time, maybe physically it's not, I don't know what they're trying to play. Not being careful with my credit.
Oh, yeah, that is a huge one for me already.
I've never had a credit problem, mainly because I never had that option. I I might have been the oldest guy in town to get his first credit card. I just didn't play that game. So I've always been on the good side of that scenario, but Josh and I certainly have known some people over the years where it was just astonishing how much trouble they'd gotten themselves into with credit cards.
Mine is just medical bills. That will absolutely ruin your credit.
Yeah, I think they're trying to change that, but you're right. That some people, what are you going to do? You get some terrible illness. It's outrageous what you owe, and
Yeah,
right.
by the time I was 20, I was basically screwed in the credit score department because of medical bills.
All right, here's some takes from our listening audience now. Older folks and their regrets. The one thing they regret from their younger years. Ronan Engineer Jesus, he regrets not using more hearing protection in the military, while working, while hunting, life in general. He says, I can't hear squat.
I started finally wearing earplugs at concerts. I wish I would have started that when I was like 17.
Yeah, I'm in that boat too. I wish I would start that.
I've been doing the earplugs thing at concerts for decades, but everything that I do here in this building just contradicts that.
Yeah,
I have my headphones up way too loud. My hearing is going fast. Monster Truck Jesus regrets not getting braces on his teeth many years ago. He says, I'm 30 and I got braces 3 weeks ago.
I got mine when I turned 21. That's the first time I had braces, or the only time I guess I had braces. Got them when I was 21.
That's one of mine. I wish me and my family would have paid more attention. It's not as if I sit around losing sleep over the gap in my front teeth, but probably should have fixed it when I was a kid. And look how gorgeous I am now. Imagine if my teeth were straight.
Look out, ladies.
Here's a listener who says, I was a little bit of a homebody and never really went out to parties or anything. I worked a lot. I played a lot of sports. I liked being at home. Then I finally decided to start saying yes to parties. The first party I went to, I ended up getting a girl pregnant and having it affect the rest of my life.
Oh, wow.
So I regret not staying at home and just being myself.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that sucks. That's nah.
Thought that story was going to take a nice turn.
Here's a listener who says, I wish I would have bought more Bitcoin back in 2000 plus 15.
Oh my gosh,
me too.
that is like a slight. Oh, I get so mad when I hear about that because when I had to get a fake, when I didn't have to, when I purchased a fake ID, at the time you used Bitcoin as a currency because the creepy, sketchy website you got it through made you use online currency. And so at one time I had, and they were like US dollars compared to Bitcoin were about the same, if not cheaper. Like Bitcoin was worth less. And at one time I had $140 worth of real money. So I had $140 in Bitcoin. And someone did the math for me once, and I wouldn't be working. That's for sure.
Wait a minute. I thought this was a joke.
Yeah.
No, well, did you see how many people text in Bitcoin?
No.
Yeah,
I thought that Bitcoin had become a total disaster.
It's not what it was. I think actually, I don't follow it too closely. I think it's coming back maybe a little bit. I don't know. Somebody could let us know. But yeah, I wish I could remember the exact numbers. But remember the dudes, they bought a pizza with Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And then they were talking about, had they held on to that pizza money, how many millions of dollars it would have been?
Yep.
Okay,
now,
same with the GameStop thing. People have texted in on the GameStop deal.
If I did it right now and I still had that Bitcoin and I never actually used the money to buy the fake ID, I would have $5 million.
Oh, come on.
Yep.
No, you would not.
That is so depressing.
But think about all the times you wouldn't have been able to be drunk.
I never even used it.
You would have
never.
You would have $5 million?
Yep. Well, a little under $6 million to be exact. But and then imagine how much that would have been. What was it? 5-10 years ago when it actually really shot up there and people were freaking out.
Okay, I don't follow these things at all.
Me neither.
Obviously, I thought that was a joke when someone texted in about Bitcoin because
No, underwhelmingly optimistic. Jesus said, "Yeah, Ashley, you'd have $5.6 million right now."
It hurts.
Jesus, I would be very upset with myself.
Yeah.
Former radio guy Jesus regrets not staying in radio.
You'd regret staying in it if you were still in it.
Trust me, dude. I've read your text. You don't have what it takes.
That is not true.
I'm joking. The guy seems very, very clever. Double D, she says, I should have taken school more seriously. Kitty lover Jesus, I regret not taking advantage of cute underwear. I'm over 40 now, and I wear granny how do you say it?
Granny panties?
Granny panties only. She regrets not taking advantage of cute underwears. Everybody's got them.
Yeah, so folks are saying a Bitcoin now is worth about 40 grand.
Oh, wow.
So, and you said it was about dollar to dollar?
Yep.
I'll take one Bitcoin, please.
Yeah, man.
I don't know the first thing about it. That's crazy.
Yeah, a few people are texting in on the Bitcoin regrets, losing your digital wallet of Bitcoin.
Huh.
Yeah, wasn't there that one person he was trying to get into his Bitcoin account because he forgot his password?
Yeah.
And he had to pay someone with Bitcoin, or I can't remember the story.
Right, because he only had a certain number of times he could try and log in before it just disappeared.
It was like billions of dollars, I thought, too. It was crazy.
Ashley, it was something that you had in your possession that had you just held on to it, you would have $6 million?
Yep.
And so what happened to that item?
I used it. I used all the Bitcoin to buy a fake ID at the time.
To buy a fake ID.
That's so awesome.
You bought a $6 million fake ID.
You sure did.
That I never, ever used. It was like Illinois. And in the picture, in the directions, they tell you not to smile or make much facial changes because then they can edit it better. I look like my dog just got murdered. So, yeah, I was never using that thing anywhere.
And you spent $6 million on it.
Yeah.
I find this difficult to understand and difficult to believe, but
it's depressing.
But there you go. Skate out of this nightmare before we lose any more money.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Sean and Sid, who got hitched on Saturday from your friend I Am Groot Jesus. Best of luck to Pack Rat Jesus, getting the old snip down there this morning, he said. Happy birthday to Killer Jesus from Show Your Boobs, Win a Balloon Jesus. Happy 49th to Kin D Garden Teacher Jesus. Don't have a name attached to this text, but happy birthday to this texter and your twin, both turning 29 today. Happy birthday to Biscuits Jesus from Shotgun Messiah Jesus. Happy birthday to Aubrey, turning 11 today. Happy birthday to CenturyLink Homeless Encampment Jesus from Bel Air Drag Racing Jesus. And happy birthday to the mother of bisexual lab tech Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.